Hi there, this is the Athletic FC podcast weekend preview, and it is match day 37. I'm Adam Leventhal, and with me to look ahead to the weekend, this penultimate weekend of the Premier League season, is Mr. Tim Spears. How are you, Tim?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm very, very well indeed. I'm looking forward to a weekend full of twists and turns at both the top and the bottom. It's going to happen again, isn't it? We're going to get our twists and turns. It's not predictable, the remainder of this season, is it?
Last week was really underwhelming, wasn't it?
It was a bit.
I've got a feeling this one might be the same.
Do you think? John McKenzie is here as well. Tim Spears thinks it's just going to go with form and we're not going to have any twists and turns. What's the feeling in your water?
Yeah, I think I feel that way as well.
Oh,
sorry.
damn you,
but,
John.
you know, I think it is very much coin toss territory now at the top. I think it will, you know, if either of the two teams now drops any points, that's it. The other team wins. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, but anything can happen.
Is it a coin toss, or do Man City have a double-sided coin and they're just going to win?
Okay, maybe it's a three-sided dice and they've got two of the numbers or something, but yeah.
They're in control.
Very much so.
Well, we shall see. Let's run through the fixture formation for this penultimate Premier League weekend. It is an 8-1-1er, and we start on Saturday lunchtime. Reigning champions Manchester City looking to go above Arsenal for at least the day when they go to Craven Cottage to play Fulham, who've been flying kites on their training ground. We'll get into that a little bit later on. It's 3 p.m.s on Saturday. Everton, Sheffield United, West Ham against Luton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Wolves, Palace, Spurs against Burnley, and Newcastle against Brighton. Then 5:30 on Saturday, Nottingham Forest hosting Chelsea. And then on to Sunday, just the one fixture, and it is a big one. 4:30, Manchester United hosting Arsenal at Old Trafford, knowing a win against their old rivals could effectively end Mikel Arteta's side title bid. And then finally on Monday, it is Aston Villa against Liverpool at Villa Park. But we are going to start at Old Trafford. Both Arsenal and City won last weekend, as we mentioned, meaning the gap between the two sides is still just a point. Arsenal have 2 to play. Manchester United away this weekend. And then Everton at home on the final day. City have 3 to play against Fulham away, Spurs away, and then West Ham at home. And interestingly, do you want some stats on Manchester United against Arsenal? Because I think it is worth bearing this in mind, because United like playing Arsenal at home. They've lost just one of their last 16 Premier League home games against Arsenal. They've won 10, drawn 5, going down 1-0 in November 2020. But then you think about the current Manchester United side. They're basically an open book. What do we make of this Manchester United side, having seen what they did or didn't do, or whatever was going on at Crystal Palace? They were awful, weren't they?
That's the thing. So I was kind of thinking, you know, United do tend to raise their game against better teams. They've unbeaten against Liverpool in 3 this season. You know, a few weeks ago we were saying they were going to get tanked by City, and they sort of took them to the 80th minute, 1-1. But yeah, they were bedraggled the other day, and they don't have much to play for, and they've got the worst injury record in the league at the moment. Although we'll see if that eases this weekend. Yeah,
do we know if is anyone going to be back? Because I mean, you look at that back four that they played at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka, Johnny Evans, Casemiro, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, and Dalot. Is anyone going to be back?
I think Martinez, Shaw, Varane and Lindelof are all sort of closing in.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to chuck them in after a couple of days training, especially Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw.
You wouldn't want to chuck, as in Eric Ten Hag, you wouldn't want to chuck them in. But also, they'd probably be thinking, I don't want to go in there. It's different. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you take some of those players out, plop them into different games or different moments in their career, including the Arsenal ones, including these Manchester United players, like Casemiro. Brilliant, world beaters. But on that day at Selhurst Park, it was really wrong. In terms of Casemiro, I don't really know where I sit on this, because I find it it's quite personal, it's quite uncomfortable. And Jamie Carragher basically saying, look, he needs to stop now, basically, because he's getting found out. He's effectively looking like a pub player. Where do you stand on it? Do you think it's other pros' places to do that? Or maybe it's a helpful thing that Jamie Carragher's doing, saying, look, just you need to back off now, pal.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I mean, in many respects, like Casemiro is not too old to be involved in those conversations yet. I don't think he's younger than Kevin De Bruyne, I believe. So what we've seen is really like a physical drop-off. I remember we put out a piece earlier in the season about what happens when a player's legs go.
Yeah.
That seems to have happened with Casemiro, and against the background of, as you were saying before, the fact that Man United are completely open now in central midfield areas, which just allows teams to run through them. So was able to get away with it a bit more last season, but seems to have lost that ability to do that now, which compounds everything, right? So certainly in this Manchester United team, it looks like he's finished. The question is whether or not, as you said before, if you put him in a different team, would he offer something to that team? And I can't see anyone in sort of the elites level wanting to do that right now, which I guess is why Carragher was prompted to say.
But players can end up in the condition that they are mentally, physically, because of the environment that they're in. And that seems to, going from, as I mentioned before, being in a world-beating environment at Real Madrid and now being at Manchester United. He was great in his first season, but now it's just nothing seems to fit.
Yeah, he's playing at centre-back, which I feel is getting ignored a bit.
Yeah,
How many
exactly.
games has he played at centre-back in his career?
Yeah.
Alongside Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
With no protection from midfield and not being helped at all. Some pundits are going, it's like they're all trying to outdo each other at the moment. You had Jamie Redknapp called him Soccer Aid the other week, which, to be honest, I had a little chuckle at the time. I thought it was quite a good line. But really, and Roy Keane calling Haaland League 2, it's all a bit, that's the way the discourse is sort of going, really. I thought Carragher was too harsh, telling him to basically retire. He's 32. But yeah, he's not playing well, but he's not helped by those around him. He's not helped by his manager, who leaves this chasm between defence and attack. But then on the flip side, he'll be okay. He's earning 350 grand a week. He's in the middle of a 4-year contract. That's 18 million a year.
Yeah, but as we know, look, however much you're earning, if you're being panned and it's actually getting into your head and people are having a go at you personally, it doesn't matter how much money you've got, does it?
It's a very fair point. I think he'll rise above it. I don't think he'll get embroiled in the discourse at all.
Yeah. Do you think that they would get a better result if they had a different manager in charge for that game? Or is it just immaterial because they're playing against City and it would probably just be like when they played against Watford and it'll be 6-0?
Getting rid of Mourinho, I guess, that things that had become problematic in the dressing room, etc. I don't think there's any indication really that's happening at Manchester United. So the big question is whether or not if you brought someone in, they would be able to have an impact within the short space of time from a tactical point of view to turn things around. And I'm guessing.
But do they need a better vibes man?
I mean, who are you proposing?
Well, I heard proposed on the radio, bringing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back just for the sort of the fun time vibes. And connecting with the sort of legacy.
Have him out at the end of the season then.
Just come in for one game. Just give it Ollie until the end of the game.
Is that a done thing?
I don't know. But I've sort of heard it suggested that maybe they just need another guy. Give it to Steve McLaren for, just get Erik ten Hag's voice out of the equation. I don't know. I'm just tabling it.
It seems odd to me because it almost feels as though there's like a non-0% chance that Erik ten Hag is still at the job at the beginning of next season, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't. What's going on behind the scenes for that?
So
to
if he wins the FA Cup final, that doesn't change anything, does it?
I mean, he won't.
I mean,
he won't.
No, it's hard to say, right? Because it is such a hypothetical. Like it's hard to see them winning the game. It's also hard to understand what's happening behind the scenes because of the takeover, and it's always unclear as to how a new owner is going to deal with the managerial situation, right? Because it always feels as though an ownership group should bring in their own person, but it feels that Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe, for whatever reason, they've stuck with him to this point. Why would they not have sacked him earlier in the season if they were going to get rid of him now? So it feels as though they've hung on to him for some reason. So why would they suddenly decide now?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
They've got some good players.
They've got some talent. They've got plenty of talent.
It's just they don't have a deep enough squad to be competitive, right?
Sancho, problems with him. Anthony, problems with him. There were problems with Ronaldo last season. Garnacho recently. Rashford, obviously Greenwood. Lots of problems there. And Bruno Fernandes is the captain to sort of bring this all together. And you got rid of Maguire as the captain. There's a horrible dressing room, it feels like. It's been going back years, not just the last couple. It's going to take a big clear out. Good luck to the next guy, really.
Yeah. And we'll see who it ends up being. It's quite a job. And And it was discussed that maybe Gareth Southgate would be a good guy because it's less a tactical thing and it's more a mood thing, an environment thing, a detoxification role, which he's done with England.
That's a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
But it's an interesting.
It's all right, Gareth. Don't you have to worry about the tactics. That's not your
It's
thing,
an interesting
is it?
thing, isn't it? Right, because if he comes in, even if he sorts out a lot of the problems in the dressing room and around the club, if they're not winning games, like people will still have an issue with that, right? So
Exactly.
it's you sort of need to get the combination of both, right? And it's pretty hard to do that because it feels like tactical managers always are sort of held up as often being like idealistic and difficult to work with, and then the guys who are really, affable and get everyone feeling positive about the club tend to not be as good tactically. So it's definitely a tricky one.
Let's talk about someone who is seemingly has the combination of both at the moment.
Football and technical.
Yeah, I think so. It's not everyone's cup of tea, Mikel Arteta, but he seems to be sort of spinning both plates pretty successfully at the moment. In the reverse fixture, when they played at the Emirates, Declan Rice was the hero. He scored the decisive goal in stoppage time in a 3-1 win at the Emirates. His former manager, David Moyes, called Rice the best midfield player in the country. I suppose the problem with that statement is it's not defined enough.
No, and
Is he the best defensive midfielder in the country?
Probably this season.
But he likes to go box to box.
Rodri's quite good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Moyes is a bit biased, isn't he?
Well, it helps his cause, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
There's always an angle.
That was where it was raised, right? It was like,
Yeah.
why have you not been...
Exactly.
Why have you
Yeah,
just lost 5-0 to Chelsea?
Yeah.
Why have you conceded more goals this season than in your entire managerial career? And he talked about Declan Rice.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't give it too much credence, really. But he's had a fantastic season. That's what we're getting at, right?
Yes. Let's talk about Arsenal as a whole then, if we're not really going to get stuck into Declan Rice. How do we view this season for Arsenal if it still goes to plan for Manchester City? It's still a step forward. We don't worry about it. It's just, this is just good. They're just up against a better side, a better project.
Yeah, obviously it's been an improvement. They're better this season than they were last season. But I think the worrying things maybe that Arsenal will consider is that City have relatively been off the pace this season. And so the question is, do City step up and get to that sort of level of perfection that they had in the past where, you had to put up over 95 points to have a chance of winning the title? And if that is the case, if City do progress towards the mean, I don't know how you term that otherwise, but then it could be the case that Arsenal won't be able to challenge them next season without making changes as well. So yeah, I think it's a step forward, but they've still not reached that point, I think, where if City do reach the level that we expect of them, they'll be battling with them to the extent that they have this season. So, but yeah, it's been a really impressive season from Arsenal, like in terms of the development as well tactically, because I didn't think Arsenal would challenge this season because they were making such a big switch from what they did last season to this season, but it seems to have gone pretty well. I think they got a little bit lucky with variance at the beginning of the season. They won a few games that maybe they shouldn't have won, but that gave them bedrock then to slowly grind, and now they picked up momentum and they're looking like the team to beat in the Premier League right now. But like I say, the question is whether or not City are going to make a few signings in the summer, and Pep will find a new system, and then next season we'll be like, oh, here we go.
If you were to change one thing, add it, take it away, whatever, at Arsenal ahead of next season, considering we are taking it as read that they're not going to win the title this season, which isn't guaranteed. Both of our producers in the gallery there staring me with devilish eyes, saying, "How dare you? We're waiting for the twist in the title race. It's going to happen. Arsenal are going to win the title." But most other people don't view it that way. What would you do to change Arsenal into title winners next season?
They probably need another regular goal scorer.
Who would you put in there?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
I hate these questions.
Why?
Because I don't know. There's
Well, come on.
dozens of suitable players around Europe.
Who would you, if you could pick a well-known striker that would be affordable and would make a difference, who would you pick?
It depends what you mean by affordable, because they spent 100 million on Declan Rice last summer. Are they prepared to do that again?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's affordable.
I'd go and get Ollie Watkins any day of the week. Really.
Ollie
I think he'd
Watkins.
fit in their front three very nicely.
Okay.
But what's interesting about Arsenal and why I'm very confident for their future is that their squad is so young and they have improved this year without necessarily improving their first 11 too much with signings. Timber was supposed to come in and obviously been injured all season. He'll be like a new signing for sure next season. But you look at the ages of their players: Saliba 23, White 26, Gabriel 26, Rice 25, Odegaard 25, Havertz 24, Saka 22, Martinelli 22. That's 8 players all coming into their prime.
It's amazing how you can do that off the top of your head as well. Brilliant.
So,
do you worry about the fact that, yes, so they've got all of these young players, but like Bukayo Saka has played as many minutes as like Wayne Rooney had by the age of whatever, I don't know. The things that people always pull out
burnout boy. He loves burnout.
I mean, he won't get past 30, but he's all right for now.
Of course. But like, do you think that, again, like great teams like this tend to have a cycle as well? They've been out of possession heavy this season. Like we've seen this season, their high press having to drop off towards the end of the season. Do you worry that like that we'll see the same kind of thing going forward with Arsenal, that they won't get as much out of their squad as they have done because they've made?
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, they rely on their core more than any of the title contenders from this season. Liverpool had the strongest sort of 22, I think, and Pep can always rotate 4 or 5
per minutes in the Premier League. I think City have got like 2 players in the top 50. I think Arsenal have got something like 6 or 7 players in the top. So, and this is one of the things with Pep, right? Part of the longevity comes from the fact that he's so good at rotation, and for whatever reason, it seems as though Arteta hasn't been able to do that. And like every season, they've dropped off at the end of the season a little bit, right? We saw it last season in the title race, we saw it the season before in the Champions League race. So I do think there's questions about how well they structure the sort of physical aspect of squad management.
So I don't know. They look pretty strong to me, stronger than they did a year ago.
Yeah, I guess the Champions League is kind of interesting as well from that perspective as well, right? Because I feel as though, and it's not something I really talked about, but like the Premier League sides, everyone made a big thing of the Premier League sides dropping out early, but the Premier League is now such a competitive league that you can't really afford to sort of rest players in. A big part of this, I do think, comes down to the fact that now at the very top, it's so brutal that we're seeing the Premier League sides disadvantaged in Europe because by the time the season comes around, the sort of crunch time of the European competitions, a lot of the teams are just sort of on their feet and out on their feet. I should say.
Yeah, subscribing to the Jurgen Klopp sort of burnout view, I'm not sure about it. I was looking at it the other day, and it broke down. Is it John McGinn's sort of amount of games that he's played every 4 days and stuff? He's all right. He's all right.
But then if you take into account like PSG, for example, they were able to take breaks before both of their semi-final games, right?
Well, I was going to say Sunday's the ultimate test, what John's talking about, because United are bedraggled at the moment, but if that crowd gets behind them, we know they play back and forth very quickly.
They're not going to get behind them, though, are they?
Arsenal at home,
yeah, maybe.
Come on, a chance to deprive them of the title, even though they give it to City. No, come on, they will. They will.
And don't forget the Man United game against Liverpool, where they literally scored
that kind of thing,
ridiculous chances. They were battered the whole game. And that's what happens, right? Man United have the players to be able to do that. You only need to have 2 good moments to like score 2 goals.
Yeah, they'll try and make it up and down, end to end, Garnacho stretching the play, that kind of thing. It'll be tough.
What if they play the same way as they did against Crystal Palace? How many goals will they concede against Arsenal?
They'll get absolutely turned over.
They would get.
They won't, as we know.
They won't, because what comes after an absolute capitulation?
When you've got Arsenal at home for your last home game of the season,
get compact. Let's get organised. You'll be fine. Let's get a score prediction.
I think Arsenal will win 2-1.
I think it's either going to be like a complete turning over, like 4-0, 5-0 embarrassment, or it will be, I can't believe that they weathered the storm, scored a goal and won for Man United. So yeah, I think it's like a big Arsenal win, or like just an incredible Man United. How on earth have they won?
Let's talk about Manchester City. They're taking on Fulham this weekend, and we obviously thought maybe City might slip up. That didn't happen. Maybe the sort of the title race might take a twist with them losing against Fulham this weekend.
No,
and
absolutely not.
And then you see the Fulham players flying kites at the training ground. Look, I mean, they might have been doing it after training, even if they were doing it. It doesn't really matter.
They simply shouldn't have fun, right?
Yeah,
at this
exactly.
Point in the
No fun.
You can't be seen to having fun at this point of the season.
It's a nice day. Why not fly a kite? Yeah. Relax. Chill out.
They should have been thinking the whole time about the upcoming fixture. They should have been training. They should have just been running around, right?
Running around.
There's no other way they could possibly enjoy themselves with such a serious thing on.
But that said, is that a complete misrepresentation, or do you think that that's almost like that would only crop up at the end of the season. It's the sort of the summer months, end of the season, you're safe. You do sort of tend to sort of mess about a little bit more.
Well, you wouldn't do it in the winter, would you, flying kites?
No.
Unless you really liked it.
Unless you really liked it.
A real fan.
Yeah, it's very much a snapshot of their week.
Yes.
We must say.
They've been flying a kite all week, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've just been talking about toxic dressing rooms. Surely, like, this is a good example of like
team bonding.
The players.
They weren't
enjoying...
all doing it though, were they?
You're saying there's cliques, the kite flying clique and the non-kite flying clique. But I think those things are important too. Good chemistry on the field has to start with good chemistry off the field, and as long as they are being diligent in their training, I think there's no problem with them having fun out there.
Yes, you were slightly critical of Erling Haaland.
So, I mean, yeah, he had gone into
And
last week scoring
how many did he score?
2 penalties he scored.
Oh,
and,
they don't count?
Craig Dawson wasn't playing.
We've sort of seen City just clicking into gear. Same usual story, that they're not showing any signs of worry, are they?
Yeah, I think early in the season, the big concern with them was that they were actually dropping off a little bit defensively.
Yeah.
And I think what we started seeing since the last few weeks or so is that they're starting to look a bit more ominous in terms of like they're not giving up as many big chances. And I think you get to that point, you're like, maybe they are just going to roll to the end of the season now. But they've looked pretty ominous for 2 or 3 weeks now. But before that, there's been games where they've just looked like they couldn't buy a win, and it's sort of been an odd season, as I said before, for City. And insofar as like some games they just ease through it, and then other games it just looks like. There was a game against Villa where they took 2 shots and it was in the same sequence, and it was in the 20th minute or something, and that was it. That was all they did. And they've since played Villa again, right? And is that right? It looked pretty competent. I can't remember what the score was. But
Yeah, they beat them at home recently. So.
Yeah.
How many goals Manchester City are going to score against Fulham? What's the score?
4-0.
4-0.
Yeah.
0-4.
3-0.
3-0. Okay. From the top to the bottom. So the relegation battle is just about still alive. Forest were unsuccessful in their appeal against their 4-point deduction. So that sort of kept it, a little bit more interesting. They're 17th on 29 points. Then it's Luton, 18th with 26 points, and Burnley 19th with 24 points. Burnley really let me down, didn't they? Forest are playing Chelsea at the City Ground, 5:30 Saturday. Realistically, they know that one win will secure them their safety, taking goal difference into account. They have -18. It's not great, but Luton's is -29. So it's effectively an extra point. Final home game of the season for Nottingham Forest. They've got a chance of getting their result against Chelsea, but Chelsea are playing well.
They have. It's probably the worst time of the season to play Chelsea. I would say Forest need 1 point to stay up.
Yeah.
I can see Luton getting a maximum of 4 points from their final 2 games, which would mean that Forest would only need 1 more to stay up on goal difference. Luton have got West Ham away, which is a funny game now because Moyes is on his way.
It's put a bit more edge on it, isn't it?
It'd be difficult to know which way it goes. And then they've got Fulham at home on the last day, who are flying kites. So you can kind of see a scenario where Luton get a point at West Ham and there are boos. Moyes is booed off, and then they can beat an unbeached Fulham on the last day. And Forest, have got Chelsea.
Burnley got Forest on
and
the
then
last
Burnley
day,
on the
right?
last
So
day.
that's a 6-point swing potentially.
They're starting to play all right.
Yes.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, they were very good against an awful West Ham team. Someone was here, Matt Davis-Adams, who commentates on the club, was basically saying it's the worst centre-back partnership he's seen in some time for West Ham. Was it Ogbonna and Zuma, maybe? I guess an identity is forming. They've had to drop one of their £100 million players in Enzo Fernandes for that to happen, which seems to have released Caicedo a bit, which in turn has released Gallagher. They've got this funny thing where Cucurella is now moving into midfield. So he's having time to work with a consistent starting 11. And it's bearing fruit, as it should do. It's long overdue.
Should he stay next season?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because the question with Chelsea is, I mean, they were so bad for most of the season that they obviously couldn't keep up at that rate. They've got better now. The question is, what level of better are they? Are they going to be able to just turn over mid-table sides but not compete against the teams in the top 4? And it's almost like this is the worst thing that can happen for the decision makers at the club, for them to have a couple of big score wins just coming towards the end of the season, because they're now going to have to weigh up, okay, there is improvement here, but is it enough improvement to justify, giving them a summer window to spend money in? And are we going to be in a situation where, 2 months into next season, we're like, oh, probably should have got a new manager, and we've effectively wasted half a season here. So really tricky decision for them. But one of the things we love from Chelsea is they've just ploughed through managers recently, and changing a manager hasn't worked. They've probably got to a point now where it can't be the worst thing in the world to take the risk and give him next season and see what happens. So I still think there are issues with him. I think the modern game has evolved in ways that he hasn't really caught up with yet. Maybe he will. I think particularly defensively. But they've got a good enough team to be able to, ride the way that they're currently on, and fix those problems as they go, fix the plane as they're flying. And if it doesn't work, then new manager the following season. But so I don't envy the decision makers at Chelsea, because it is a tricky one to sort of navigate.
I think ditto read the squad, right? Do they go spend another stupid amount of money this summer, or do they stick with this very young team? It's the youngest in the league, I think, in terms of the squad. You look at Mudryk and Palmer and Madueke and Jackson finally getting a run and working out combinations and getting used to each other and scoring goals. So do they stick with that, or do they say, well, this season's been rubbish, the players aren't good enough, and go spend a lot more money? And
I don't think they can, though, can they?
Well, but then you look at Gallagher and Chalobah have really come to the fore in recent weeks, and yet they're the two most vulnerable to be sold because of PSR. So it's an interesting summer on the playing front as well.
West Ham against Luton. Obviously, we mentioned it from a sort of a Luton perspective. There's now a little bit more edge on the game, because David Moyes is going to, hopefully, from his point of view, being given a nice farewell from the West Ham fans. They're switching to Julian Lopetegui. Right, one other issue I wanted to talk about just before we go: Tottenham take on Burnley. Last season, would you think it's fair to say that Tottenham's last season was an abject failure?
Awful.
Right.
Disastrous.
So they got 60 points, right?
Yeah.
Finished at 8th.
They were looking to. Yeah.
How many points have they got this season?
Great question.
60
points, right? 4 defeats on the bounce, conceding 3.25 per game, 19th in the form table over the last 5 games.
And what about the 6-game form table?
You're not going to flip this on its head and go, well, they should stick with Pochettino, give him time. But you're going to say Postecoglou does not deserve time, aren't you?
No, I'm just a little bit concerned for everyone that loves Ange, and I don't know where you are on the Ange loveometer, but I'm just a little bit worried, because it does look a little bit like they've been royally figured out. Is that fair or not?
Yeah, I think there's lots of things to love about him. I think there's elements about him that need to be sorted. Like there needs to be some pragmatism, right? And he sets his whole stall out by being like the arch idealist, right? This is the way we play, mate. And I have a degree of sympathy for that approach, because you do, as a manager, you do have to be, uncompromising on your approach. But I do think that you can do that whilst having a level of pragmatism where you fix things that aren't fundamental to your ideals, but are fundamental to giving yourself the best chance for those ideals to work. Set pieces. It's unconscionable for a manager to say there's not an issue with conceding from set pieces if you're getting into games and conceding set pieces and it's affecting your ability to win games. There's nothing about the ideals of what he's doing that means that you can't do that.
You just said you were pro-Ange.
I am pro-Ange.
You sound very anti-Ange.
I like to feel as though you can be pro a manager and recognise their weaknesses. I feel as though I've done that with Andoni Iraola, who I would like to point out is today the recipient of a Premier League Manager of the Year nomination.
You have been on his side and espousing his qualities for quite some time.
But does that mean that I think that he should suddenly start, coaching Man United? No, because I think there are questions about his tactical approach. So with Ange, it's the same. I like a lot of the things that he does, but when you're coaching at the very highest level for an elite team, you have to have an ability to tweak the things to put everything in your favour for your system to work as well. So I think the question for me is how willing he's going to be over the summer to make those tweaks. I think that the team will be improved by bringing in better players in the squad to be able to play that way. But I also think the team will be improved by making tactical decisions which aren't fundamental to his idealistic approach, but have to be made in order to be able to give himself the best opportunity to succeed.
I mean, he needs the players. You can't have Ben Davis and Emerson Royale trying to play his inverted fullbacks. It's ridiculous. But that's what he's had to do for a large amount of the season. What I worry about with Spurs is that they need a big overhaul this summer, and they need to get players out to get them in, because there's a lot of fat in that squad that needs trimming. That's not how Spurs do things.
Well, we'll see what happens when they take on Burnley. If they were to lose that at home, all the very best.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you very much for your presence.
Cheers. Thank you.
He gave you presents. I didn't get any.
No. Well, you didn't bring anything either.
Oh, well.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks very much for being here once again. Io is going to be back on Monday with the next episode of the Athletic FC podcast. All that's left for me to say is have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching on YouTube as well.
If you want to watch more
Depuis le temps, j'avais toujours dit que j'allais m'adresser à vous quand le moment serait venu. Et donc, je voulais vous annoncer à tous que voilà, c'est ma dernière année au Paris Saint-Germain. Je ne vais pas prolonger et je vais terminer mon aventure dans quelques semaines. Je vais jouer mon dernier match au Parc des Princes dimanche. Malgré tout ce qui peut se passer en dehors, tout ce nuage médiatique qui entoure parfois le club, il y a vraiment des amoureux du club qui veulent défendre et faire briller ce club, et ça fait plaisir. Et je sais qu'avec toutes ces personnes, ce club il est entre de bonnes mains. C'est difficile. Je ne pensais pas que ça allait être aussi dur d'annoncer ça, de quitter mon pays, la France, la Ligue 1, un championnat que j'ai toujours connu. Mais je pense que j'avais besoin de ça, un nouveau challenge après cette année.
Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC on the day that the worst kept secret in football was confirmed by Kylian Mbappe. He will be leaving PSG at the end of the season. That was just a small snippet of a 4-minute video, which I'm sure was lovely. Shaka Hislop with us here in the studio, as we also welcome to the programme Gab Marcotti, Nader Manua and Alex Kirkland. I want to start in Spain with you, Alex, and if you don't mind, I'm going to make this about me, because 15 years ago, I was at the revealing of Cristiano Ronaldo. Incredible scenes at the Bernabeu, 80,000 fans in attendance. Of course, that famous clip of Ronaldo looking at the stadium saying, "Who's playing today?" And they were like, "No, they're all here for you." This is the biggest signing since then, but is it fair to say there isn't quite the same amount of excitement considering all the faff that's led up to it?
No, I don't think so. I think the excitement when this eventually happens will be absolutely massive. And you're right, I think that Cristiano Ronaldo presentation back in 2009 kind of set the benchmark as having been sort of the biggest arrival pretty much that we've ever seen at a football club, certainly on that scale, filling the Bernabeu. And the expectation has always been that when Mbappe eventually arrives, that Madrid might well try and replicate that and make this sort of the biggest thing since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo. I wouldn't say that the excitement's been dampened by what's happened in the last few years. Yes, we've had so many false starts, and almost it's happened. We had that 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and going even further back, and even last summer as well. It finally is going to happen this summer. Although, of course, this announcement from Mbappe didn't include the words "I am going to Real Madrid." This was just about "I'm leaving Paris Saint-Germain." I think that makes sense. I think it's been pretty clear from him all the way along, and you could hear it in this statement how important it's been to him to kind of be seen to be leaving in the right way, to be seen to be leaving in a respectful way. And that's why the timing of this announcement makes sense as well, as he mentioned there, ahead of PSG's last home game of the season, giving him a chance to say goodbye, everybody knowing what the deal is. But like I say, there was no mention in that 4-minute statement from Mbappe of Real Madrid. That will come, but Madrid aren't in a hurry, I think, to get that out there. We don't know when that announcement will come, but my suspicion is that won't come until the end of the season, because Madrid don't want any distractions ahead of the Champions League final.
What's interesting, Alex, and banging on with this Ronaldo comparison, is that when Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in 2009, they hadn't won the Champions League, since 2002. So it was a big gap there. Kylian Mbappe is coming into a side that's already won La Liga and are favourites to win the Champions League. So it's not quite that kind of same saviour narrative.
Yeah, this is even a year ago we would have said, with the departure of Karim Benzema, leaving this kind of void in attack for Real Madrid. Even a year ago we would have said Real Madrid needs Kylian Mbappe. Now that's a little bit different, and part of that is about what they've done this season, as you mentioned, winning La Liga, being in the Champions League final. Part of that is about the evolution of this Real Madrid squad, the way that Vinicius Junior has gone on to another level, to be arguably the best player in the world right now, the impact that Jude Bellingham has had as well since his signing last summer, being the other big star for Real Madrid this season. That has changed. I think the circumstances have changed, and the feeling has changed as well. But no, I go back to what I said before. I still think when this happens, yes, it's been a long time coming, but it will be hugely exciting. Everyone here will lose their minds, and we shouldn't forget what a good player he is. Even though he disappointed for PSG right at the end of their Champions League campaign, we shouldn't forget what a talent he is and what he can bring to this team and what he can bring to La Liga.
And when it comes to managing everything that's going to go on with his arrival, Gab, Carlo Ancelotti, not a bad man to deal with it all.
Well, he's certainly built a reputation over the years as somebody who's the Galactico whisperer, right? He's somebody who's very good at managing egos, managing superstars. Kind of on the man management side, but also on the pitch, figuring out a way for people to play together. I mean, he has two left wingers in Vinicius and Rodrigo leading his attack this year, and yet he found a way to make it work. And they're adding another guy who plays on the left in Kylian Mbappe. So I think there's going to be two big pieces here. Is one on the man management kind of stroke ego side. Keeping Mbappe happy, helping his transition. And the other one on the tactical side, how do these pieces fit together? And is it going to be Vinicius? Is it going to be Mbappe? Are they both going to play somehow wide left? I don't know. He's figured out bigger conundrums in the past, but this one's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, what's the expectation, Alex, from the Madrid media, how these stars are going to line up together?
I think what we've seen from Real Madrid this season actually has been a little bit of laying the groundwork for Mbappe and working out a way that Mbappe can fit into this Real Madrid team. And a big part of that has been the evolution of Vinicius Junior as a player. As Gab said, Vinicius has always been a left winger until this season, when we started to see a bit of a shift. We started to see Ancelotti pick him as part of, at times, as a front two with Rodrigo. And as you can see there, potentially, I think you can see Vinicius Junior operating as in a front two with Mbappe. We've seen Vinicius operating increasingly through the middle as well as on the left. I think he's getting better in terms of his movement off the ball, the runs he's making. Just look at that goal he scored, for example, in the Champions League against Bayern Munich in the first leg of their semi-final, that Toni Kroos pass running down the middle. Those are the kind of movements we've started to see from Vinicius this season. That's been encouraged by Carlo Ancelotti, who's talked about how getting Vinicius closer to the goal can increase his productivity in front of goal as well, being a player who scores with just one or two touches rather than just being a kind of a dribbling winger as he was when he first joined Real Madrid. So I think all of that has happened this season. Part of it has been about making Vinicius Junior a better player and making the team better. Of course it has. That's been the primary focus. But also at the same time, I think it's served as like a little bit of a trial run in terms of how can we fit Vinicius Junior and Mbappe into a team. As Gab mentioned, it's worked this season quite often with Vinicius and Rodrigo, sometimes with Vinicius coming inside, sometimes with Rodrigo coming inside, and I think the same thing might well apply to Mbappe.
Nathan, is there not, aside from Vinicius Junior, just saying, wait a minute, why am I the one that has to sacrifice my best position? Because I've proved that I am one of the best players in the world here at Real Madrid. Look what I did for you in the semi-finals, for example, compared to what Kylian Mbappe did for PSG, where he went missing.
Yeah, Dan, to be honest, I think ego is always going to come into play when it comes to football, but ultimately I don't believe that is going to be as big an issue as, say, you perceive it to be or other people might perceive it to be. The fact is they're bringing in one of the best players in world football to come and join Madrid, to join that Madrid culture and to try and help them be even more successful. And I think with someone like Carlo Ancelotti on the sidelines, there's so much belief that he will find a way. This is a guy that never looks flustered. This is a guy that can find a way with the pieces that are available to him. So I'm sure from when he comes in, if he comes in, that they'll be able to form some sort of magical connection. As a consequence, Vinicius Junior won't just be receiving balls from Bellingham. Now he's going to be getting it from Mbappe. He's going to have people stretching the game as well. And as a consequence, that raises their potential even higher. So I wouldn't necessarily take offence as such if I was Vinicius Junior, because ultimately I think there will be a way where both will be on the field and they'll both be able to thrive, potentially raise themselves to whole new levels yet again.
Do you agree, Shaq?
I do. I think key to all of this, key to this working is Carlo Ancelotti, as Gab was alluding to. I think he is the one who kind of understands players, their mentalities, and how to get the best out of them. Whether it is leave Vinicius Junior, who right now is among the favourites to win the Ballon d'Or. Leave him on the left, somehow convince Kylian Mbappe to play on the right, or switch them around. But whatever it is, whatever that solution may be, again, I think this comes down squarely to Carlo Ancelotti, and there's no reason to not believe that he can somehow make all of this work, including somehow figure out Rodrigo and what his position with the club at the club is. And to Alex's point, I think as far as who needs more, I think so much of this is a win-win-win in that Kylian Mbappe needed to be away from PSG and France. I think a move to a club like Madrid a couple of years ago would probably have benefited him a whole lot more. Madrid welcoming the best players on the planet at the Bernabeu, again with Carlo Ancelotti, that works. And then for PSG, I think they desperately needed to figure out life after Kylian Mbappe. Again, as close as they've come 4 years ago, as close as they were this time around, this project, as it were, building around these global superstars, these individuals, hasn't delivered the Champions League, the holy grail for their spending. And maybe it is now they desperately need a more team-oriented focus, and they're only able to do that without somebody like a Kylian Mbappe within their ranks. They need it just as much as probably Kylian and Real.
Is there any way that Xhaka's wrong, Gab, and this could all fall flat and it be a disastrous move?
Oh, I think there's definitely the possibility. Look, as we said, we're all assuming it's Real Madrid. People have told us it's Real Madrid. But the reality is, as of June 30th, he can sign with anybody. So there is a possibility that I think it's unlikely he's going to stay after he says he's going to leave. But hey, maybe fancy's going somewhere else. Maybe he's going to team up with Erling Haaland. Who knows? I mean, these are remote possibilities. But in terms of the team itself, there is that possibility. Luis Enrique tried him out in a central position on a number of occasions, especially in the second half of the season. Of course, we saw him play centrally against Borussia Dortmund after Bradley Barcola came on. It's not like he can't do it, but obviously it is a transition. It may be that they take turns coming inside, which is effectively what Rodrigo and Vinicius have done this season. I think there's also another question, kind of the elephant in the room, is neither Vinicius nor Mbappe are known for their defensive work and their pressing off the ball. How is that going to affect how Carlo plays? Real Madrid don't press very much, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they do it very well. Will they have to do it even less? Can he get them to go and cover that side of the game as well? So there's a ton to get stuck into beyond who plays where and how do we keep all the egos happy.
How much better does this make Real Madrid than Manchester City now, Nathan?
Oh, Dan, thank you very much for that. It's very, very kind of you. I think Real Madrid, obviously, they're a class apart, especially when you look at European football. Whether they play well or play badly, they still have an opportunity to be able to get to these finals and to have the expectations that they have. And I think when you bring in one of the best forwards in world football and add it to, as the guys are saying, someone like a Vinicius Jr. who is, being spoken about for Ballon d'Or standard, then yeah, it makes them really, really dangerous. I think obviously as well, as you look at the Real Madrid side, I think when you put up that possible starting 11, there's no Toni Kroos in there, there's no Luka Modric. So you can see that maybe there's a bit of a transition to come as well. But in terms of attacking potential, if they can find a way to make it work, this is one of the scariest front lines in world football. And ultimately, if they achieve their potential, they'll be really dangerous. But as the guys were saying, that defensive side of things is probably not going to be their strong point. And I think the teams who maybe are more balanced, that do have talent, yes, they'll think they'll have a good chance. But if he goes to Real Madrid, I mean, talk about a great team getting better. I think it'd be really exciting to see, and they'll be a very, very tough team to beat.
Well, let's start with, go ahead with Rodri first. Just wax philosophical, because that's insane to me. He's the third favorite to win the whole thing when you look at different books. He's not even on the list.
Listen, I'm just going to tell you about this, because I'm not going to bore Janusz with too many stats, because everybody knows about Rodri. He's the best player in his position in the world, not just in the Premier League, in the world. There is not one more consistent example of a professional player in the Premier League than Rodri. He is ridiculous. And yes, Erling Haaland breaks records, goal scoring records. But I do believe this. When Man City don't have Erling Haaland, they can win. When they don't have Rodri, I think that answer is less so. That's how big I see Rodri for Manchester City. The fact that he's not even considered for player of the season is ridiculous.
You know how I feel about this. I mean, it's totally irresponsible. I love Premier League. I think it's the best league in the world. And you know, just like you guys, we respect other leagues. We commentate on it. We watch it. I could make a case for La Liga and German Bundesliga and everybody else to be technically or tactically better. But we're not here for that. I don't respect how do I put this, guys? Not the English pundits, but majority of the people. I mean, seriously? I mean, it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible not to have him on that list. It's also irresponsible not to have Bukayo Saka on that list.
Yep.
I think it's absolutely crazy. Anything that we say from this point on, it's absolutely crazy because not to have, I could make a case for Rodri to be the, and I've made it to be the player, the Ballon d'Or. It's just
it's a solid argument. He is. He's that good.
He is that good, and because we value the goal scorers and all of that, Cannavaro was the last one, Ballon d'Or. I think that kind of defender. I don't even remember who was the last one. I think it was Cannavaro. So it's crazy. I understand it. I get it, but for them. Listen, you're going to question our choices for the best player from the list was given. I can sense it through the camera here.
Oh, I'm definitely going to sense it.
Ali Watkins is not up there just for you, my friend. I'm just
leave the stream right now.
So let's move on. But Rodri not.
No, let's do it. Let's show those numbers, man.
Yeah, let's go to what we all picked here. And yes, without Rodri and Saka on this list, I think it almost strains credibility. But let's go through our back 8 through 4. And I guess, Giannis, you can start because Ollie there at 7 is going to fire up our boy LME.
It's not even for the benefit of the show because at first I thought that because because I knew like Lewis is going to go on and on and on. But since I did it, I could have, Sam, our producer, I was thinking about putting Watkins a little bit higher because I looked at it, what I did this morning. I was like, no, that's not true. And it isn't. So I'm admitting fully that he shouldn't be this low. He should have been up there.
I love you, man.
And by the way, I'm going to let him go and make his case for the best player in the league because I suppose you could make that. Oh, by the way, we were talking Saka and De Bruyne is not on the list either, right? Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but
injured a lot, but yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, if De Bruyne plays 3 games, he's still usually, the best there is. So that I just want to mention that. So
that's worth a point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anybody? Let's get to the top here as we run lower on time. And LME, I'll let you make a defense for your top 4. I won't make you answer why Odegaard is 5, but we'll go ahead. Thank you, Giannis. Look at that. I didn't know Giannis had him there. Okay, LME, go ahead. Fire away for Declan.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I hate doing this before the end of the season, especially in a season that remains so tight. Second, these rankings for me are as of right now, tentative, because I have a big piece coming out next week on multiple awards, so I'm being tentative on it. But Declan Rice, to me, right, if Arsenal indeed win this Premier League title, he is one of the major, if not the main factor, and I'll tell you why. I've said for a long time, especially at the beginning of the season, that Arsenal needed a new version of Patrick Vieira. And yes, Declan Rice is not Patrick Vieira, but he's exactly what they need of how the same way Arsenal back in the day needed Patrick Vieira as well. He went from a holding midfielder to a box-to-box player in the same season. 15 goal contributions, and here's the key. Not only does he contribute going forward, but 79 tackles, 43 interceptions, late match winners, and we talk about mentality, wanting it. He is exactly what Arsenal needed, and if Arsenal win the Premier League, there is no doubt in my mind, in my opinion, that he deserves it. He has been everything and then some, an absolute leader in every way. And Ollie Watkins, the most goal contributions in the Premier League out of anyone. So come on now, please, okay? Come on. I'm going to leave if somebody disagrees with me on that one. I have Erling Haaland, right? And Isak a little lower than everybody else because I had a parameter for myself, Dallin, where I wanted I needed players to play at least 30 matches or more. Both of them, Haaland and Isak, have played less than 30. I feel that needed to be a little bit more. And Cole Palmer, we know, and your boy Odegaard, I mean, he's amazing. But I'm not going to have a lot of Arsenal players out there in the 1-2. Declan Rice, clearly.
I think you're crazy. I think that's
You can't call me crazy if you have Ollie Watkins in 7th. I'm sorry.
Listen, I think you're absolutely out there. I don't know what happened to you since you moved to England. Because, not that I disagree with you about Rice, because I think I know what you're trying to say. I mean, he is the missing piece when it comes to character. But when I looked at all these players, right, in general, forget if they're first, second, third, or fourth, or fifth, right? That's, we can argue about that. But I said to myself, is there a player that it's irreplaceable for any team if I'm going to give it to them? And for me, that's Odegaard. I mean, I think Arsenal could survive without Rice. I'm not saying that they're going to be better, and I don't know how many games they would have won or lost without him. But I think without Odegaard, I mean, here's a player that we always knew about, right? We always thought about, his saga with Real Madrid. Just imagine Real Madrid having this version of Odegaard right now. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Listen, Sociedad and all that.
The biggest reason to me why Declan Rice, if Arsenal win it, remember I said tentative. If Arsenal, the win is to me Declan Rice. And come on, Dallin, you're an Arsenal fan. You got to go with Martin Odegaard is an absolute king. Okay, but here's the thing about Declan Rice. He has. Listen to me.
I'm tuning out.
Listen to me. I think it's very difficult in this game to be so potently dangerous going up, because he has done it. 15 goal contributions, match late winners, right? He's done that part. And then play 2 positions in the space of 1 season, from go to box to holding midfielder, and lead in his first season. I think he was the missing piece for Arsenal. If they win it, he'll be a major factor. That's why he's my vote. I'm not shading on Martin Odegaard. I think Martin Odegaard is amazing, but he's not the Premier League player of the season for me, because they needed somebody like Declan Rice to win the whole thing.
Without Odegaard, Bukayo Saka doesn't exist. The partnership between two of them, it's quite incredible.
Without Declan Rice, none of it works.
And who does the
guys? I have to cut you off here real quick. I just gotta tell you this: to sit here and have you both argue about who's the player of the year, Rice or Odegaard, has just left me. I mean, this is kind of my
You're loving it. You're loving it.
So this has been great. Thank you very much.
You're just on the beach, just like chilling and listening.
Yeah, I was good. I was like, all right, this is great. Let's keep doing this.
Hey, we got manager of the season as well, right?
I know. I slided slightly with Odegaard purely because I do think the captaincy, some of the mentality stuff we talk about, I think does come from that dude and his assertions through this team for the last couple years. So
you have Phil Foden. All right, let's get to.
I have Foden to try not to be biased for 2 freaking seconds, but I guess I should just go with my heart and my gut. But all right,
I got
anyway,
you.
Let's go. Let's get to manager of the year quickly. They have 5 finalists. Here they are: Pep, Arteta, Klopp, Emery, Areola. Janusz, give us your first. LME, give us yours. Go ahead, fellas.
LME, you go for. Oh, there you go. Thank you for that graphic, because I forgot who I picked.
There you go. That's right.
Look, we're picking today. The manager of the year always that will never change for me. It goes to the manager that wins the league, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I put an asterisk around that. If just in case if Manchester City wins it, then Pep Guardiola once again, the ability to motivate the team, the ability to win now 4 straight now, which is obviously it would be done for the first time in history of the Premier League. But I'm giving it to Arteta because he said it, process and progress. I laughed at it. Most people laughed at it because that's the normal thing that people say. But if he sees it through, and even now without seeing it through, you could see what he's doing year in and year out, and that certainly is his team. And if they don't win it this season, then for me, Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are going to be the overwhelming favorites next season to do it.
Yeah, I'm waiting, just like Janusz said, I'm waiting till the end of the season. That's why I've got Arteta/Emery. But Dallin, well done on having Unai Emery, by the way, who in his first full season is about to get Champions League football for Aston Villa. By the way, in a squad that had 3 ACLs, at no point in the entire season did Aston Villa have at least a full squad with 3 key players not out. It's been the case the entire time. But Mikel Arteta, I totally agree with Janusz. I want to wait till they win the Premier League. Hopefully for your sake, Dallin, they'll do it. And to me, that really will show how much. Hey, by the way, Guipúzcoa, the smallest province in Spain, right, has produced Unai Emery, right, Mikel Arteta, Iraola, Xabi Alonso. It's ridiculous. And then Pep Guardiola, Catalan. There's so many Spanish managers. I thought it'd be worth mentioning just Guipúzcoa, 3 managers in that manager of the season for the Premier League. That's it. See, I left him dead as well.
Yeah, that is insane when you think about it. That's really wild to say this. Yeah, Janusz can't even believe what you just said there.
Well,
actually gets it.
No argument there. No argument there.
And Echegaray, by the way.
There we go. Janusz has no argument. All right, with that said, fellas, it was a great time. Great stuff with you guys as always, LME, Janusz. Let's tell the fans what we have coming up on ESPN Plus this weekend. Tons of action across the platform. We start 12:30 Eastern, Liga Champs, and the finalists Real Madrid for the Champions League. Travel to Granada. That coverage starts midday Eastern. Sunday, after more midweek, just insane heroics of Bayer Leverkusen, they reach Europa League final. 49 games unbeaten. Xabi Alonso's men face Bochum with their sights set on 50 games without an L. Coverage starts 1 p.m. Eastern with a 1:30 kickoff. And finally, your Monday afternoon La Liga action. Barca hosts Real Sociedad. Coverage begins 2:30 Eastern. Kickoff at 3. LME, Janusz, enjoy the football Saturday morning. City and Fulham start things off. Huge game. Have a good weekend, boys.
Yeah, I was hoping that he was going to say that Carleto Ancelotti is a Catalan too. The best ever. Isn't he?
Nadem, psychologically, what's it like playing a team like Real Madrid who have that pedigree in a competition, though no matter when you think they're dead, somewhere, somehow, they come back to life and get you?
To be honest, I think the only thing that feels like this from my standpoint where I've played there is, say, for example, playing at Anfield, when everyone says in the second half, the ball's just going to get sucked in at the top end. No matter what the score is, they're going to find a way to do it. But then you have Liverpool, and then you have Real Madrid. I think that feeling that exists within European competition, there's nothing like it. I've seen Man City go there and lose in the worst way 2 seasons ago when they conceded 2 goals in added time. But that same season did it to Chelsea. And then come the final, you know, they're beating Liverpool. And it's like, well, how did they deserve this? I just believe that they are one of those teams, whenever it's the Champions League, no matter what the score is, the game's not over until that final whistle goes. They push, they push, they push. And something that was really vivid in my mind was when I watched the game against City 2 years ago in the semi-final. My Spanish is very limited, like yours, Dan. Obviously, I didn't live there, but it's very limited. And there was a banner that was up that read, "Another magical night for the Kings of Europe." And that banner was up before the game when they were 4-3 down. When the fans that have that sort of belief, the players have it too. There's something about that culture, and when that place gets loud and those players start believing, I think you need real impeccable game managers to be able to get out there with any sort of result whatsoever. And for them to push the way that they push to have a manager on the sideline that's not flustered, it just adds to this perfect storm. And Bayern Munich, unfortunately for them, they've suffered the fate that many others before them have as well.
Carlo Ancelotti, of course, once again getting all the plaudits after this win. Meanwhile, if you saw yesterday's show, of course, Stevie and Robert going at it about the substitutions. Tuchel coming out and saying, look, Harry Kane had a bad back. The argument is, look, come on, you could just push for 10 minutes more to try and get us over the line. How much is being made of that, Archie?
The major talk, even before this game, was still about Bayern's incompetence with appointing a new coach. The fact that Xabi Alonso's turned them down, Julian Nagelsmann, and then Ralf Rangnick as well. So if anything, the drum has now just been steadily beating again on who's going to be the new coach. because we know that Thomas Tuchel is leaving, even if he'd said it was very, very, very unlikely, direct quote, that he would stay on even if they'd reached the final. There's not been as much focus on that, also because there's an acceptance that this squad has been thin, and Thomas Tuchel has talked about that quite a lot this season. Thin in terms of numbers of players that he can put in, and also how much they've crumbled under injuries this season. There's no doubt that this squad has a lot of quality in it. It's just how deep does it go? It's not gone as deep as Leverkusen's, for example.
What we all want is for no mishaps, none of this. Oh, Arsenal fell away at the end. They couldn't beat a shambles of a Manchester United team, because that's what the narrative will be tomorrow. If we lose this game or we drop points, we'll get hammered because United are in such a bad place. So let's just make sure everything's positive from our end. And if City outpoint us at the end of the season, well done to them.
It is what it is. Right, let's have a look at today's number then. It's a good one for us, Clark. It's the number 10.
Yeah, 10 clean sheets away from home in the Premier League this season. It's our most in a Premier League season. It's the second most away from home in any top flight season in our history.
Wow.
So, yeah, we did 13. And I was a kid at this time. I think I was 15. 1990-91 season. So I was still at school, but came to all the games. We won the league. We lost one game in the entire season. It was a phenomenal campaign. And yeah, I can't remember how many goals we let in, but it was minuscule.
Right.
Like it was just ridiculous, the amount of clean sheets we got. Obviously 13 away from home. So yeah, this could be our best defence since then.
Yeah.
Or the best team defence. Because I don't want to say it's just about the defenders. I do think it's about the team. You know, Ødegaard and all the guys defending from the front are magnificent. And yeah, we've got to do that today. We can't take the mickey. Right, this is us away from home. Shots faced and goals conceded. Look, we're top. So least shots, joint least shots faced, 171. But look how many fewer shots than your Liverpools and Villa. And they're the next in line, by the way. You know, most teams have conceded a lot more shots away from home than that. But the goals conceded is the most impressive. Just 13 conceded on the road this season. City 18, Liverpool 21, Villa 28. You know, we've been the best side defensively on the road. We've been the best team on the road, full stop. So let's go one more time. This is it, the last away trip of the season, last one in this beautiful kit that you're wearing today.
I thought I'd wear it. Yeah.
Look, I didn't like this kit when it came out, but I love it now because we've produced some performance, isn't it?
Can we roll it over to next season?
Yeah, I mean, it is. We've had some great days in it, and
so
you know, I was flabbergasted we didn't wear it in Munich because I just thought. I'm not saying we would have won had we worn it, but it feels like the players, it brings out the best in them. So yeah, one last win, hopefully.
Yeah, and hopefully it will help us overcome the Old Trafford hoodoo, because let's be honest, it is a bit of a mental stalling block for us going to Old Trafford.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, obviously they've had good teams over the years, and it's a big stadium, but they haven't been very good, have they, in recent years, Manchester United?
They frustrated me so much because I feel even when we weren't great, we were still better than them.
Yeah,
you know.
The last few times we've gone there, we've outplayed them and not won, and that's been really annoying. Mm-hmm. Decisions have gone against us. The Martinelli one last season was criminal. Other silly mistakes. So we've got to cut out the mistakes. We've got to be really super professional today, ice cold in front of goal, because we're going to create chances. There's no chance that we don't create a lot of efforts on goal in this game. Not with that Man United defence. Not with the sort of disorganised nature of it at the moment. We should be peppering that goal.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of, can we bring our shooting boots? If we can, we end the hoodoo. You know, 1 win in 16, and that was behind closed doors.
Fans didn't even get to see it.
Is it 20 years? 20 years since we last won there? I think I heard. It was a long time since.
06, 07.
06, so nearly 20 years. So that's a long time to go, where Arsenal fans inside the stadium have watched us win. But look, we went there in 02 and won the league, didn't we? If we win there today, it could be another famous win at Old Trafford, especially if things go our way in the last game, with City maybe dropping points. This could be seen as the big win. So let's go out there and do it.
And look, we've touched on it all the way through because we've seen their starting 11 and all the rest of it. It's a great time for us to play them. Not only are they missing loads of players, their form's on the floor.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you just look at the defence. Obviously, you've got Dalot, who's in bad form. Saka playing sort of out of position on the left. Johnny Evans, a veteran. Shouldn't really be anywhere near the Man United first team, but there he is. You've got a midfielder next to him. Is it Casemiro? Is it Amrabat? Neither really would be that convincing, you'd say. So, yeah, we can really get out of that back four today, I'm sure of it. And even the midfield, Kobe Mainoo is a highly rated young player, but sometimes struggles without the ball. Eriksen has been left out, and that's bad news for us because he's so slow these days.
Getting on,
that I just think that if Declan Rice gets up against a Christian Eriksen, that he just powers past him. So yeah, I'm disappointed that he's not playing, but hopefully we'll have too much for them. I do think in midfield and with Havertz and Ødegaard and Trossard coming in field, I think in that area we might just have too much for Evans and whoever's alongside him.
And they're under a lot of pressure, this Manchester United team, off the back of what happened at Crystal Palace. We saw how Elise and Eze run the show there, and we've got players who are just as talented as those guys, if not more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was one of the most disorganised performances I've ever seen, honestly. It's like no one knew, they'd forgotten how to play football. Forgotten that when the ball's there, I'm supposed to be here. And when it moves there, I'm supposed to go there. And it was like their minds were frazzled and they didn't really have a clue where they should be and when. So, yeah, Palace, to their credit, put them to the sword. I don't think they can be as bad today. I just don't think they can be as bad. But we're better than Palace. And if we produce the quick pass and move football with the sharp movement that's been the hallmark of our performances this season, I don't think Man United can live with us, not this version of Man United.
No. Well, you mentioned this kit, and I think it's fair to say away from home, especially in 2024, we have just been unreal.
Unreal. Well, look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers just speak for themselves. It's been sensational. Just the one match where we dropped points, and really, I still think it's a point gained away to Manchester City. People will say, oh, what if you'd have gone there and attacked them and won the game, you'd have won the league. We haven't not won the league, first and foremost, but I think if we'd have gone there and played attacking football, we would have maybe got beat there. So that's a great point. The rest have been wins, but look at the goal difference. Look at the goal difference. The goals we conceded, Forest away, last minute, Awani, kind of a little bit of we were comfortable, it was 2-0 up, got a little bit sloppy, he scores. The other two were the gifts at Tottenham. David Wright, gives it to Romero, and the other one's the cheap penalty, with Declan's, he's a bit unlucky really. So we have not been opened up away from home this year. Teams don't create much against us, so let's hope that continues today. Just one more, one more 90 minutes, and if it continues, then here we go, shots faced. This is interesting. So I was just hammering Manchester United.
You and Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, look, they deserve it because honestly, they were a disgrace against Palace. If that was my team, I would have been outraged. But look at the shots they've faced this season. Onana has been very, very busy. Sheffield United and Luton, they're down. West Ham's a surprise, but they are where they are. But look at us. So we've faced less than half the shots of Manchester United. So. And today I wouldn't expect that to change, even though we're away from home. I think we should have at least 20 shots today. I think the most they might have is 10.
Well, you mentioned earlier that Man United are 8th in the table, but you don't think they deserve to be 8th. They've been quite lucky in
very
some
lucky.
senses.
Honestly, I think people who are much cleverer than me with various spreadsheets, they talk about expected points. Their expected points is shocking. This is really interesting though. So look at the XG against. So the number of goals they should have conceded is 69. They actually conceded 54 because the goalie's been good, and teams have missed big opportunities against them. So basically they're 15.31 goals up in terms of they should have conceded 15 more goals. Liverpool, we talked about them, riding their luck this season. It's eventually come back to bite them. Fulham and Villa are there too. But that there tells you they should have conceded 69 goals, which is unreal. Because if you're Man United and you concede 50, it's a bit of a disaster. Yeah. So that's how open they are. You know, in 2024, almost every opponent has had 20 or more shots. Not all of them, almost every opponent. So let's not disappoint them. Let's go again.
You see stats like that and it fills you with confidence because, you know, away from home we've been brilliant. They've ridden their luck loads. You know, we love controlling games nowadays and I expect us to go to Old Trafford and dictate.
If you're Man United, you're dreading the game, aren't you? But the reason we love football is that you never know. You just never know. So we can't take these things for granted. The players can't take that for granted. But the facts are laid bare there. The facts tell you that Manchester United have been poor, like really poor by their standards. And yeah, hopefully they'll be poor again today and they won't raise their game. They did draw at home to Liverpool, but they knocked them out of the FA Cup. In both those games, Liverpool created loads, but they were wasteful. That's my worry today. Let's not be wasteful, because we will create. Let's punish them.
Yeah. Right, well, let's head back to Old Trafford now and check in once again with our commentary team, Jonathan Rogers and Dan Roebuck. Afternoon, fellas. A massive occasion, as always.
Look, it's always a big occasion. We know that Manchester United have been poor recently, worse than poor, as Eddie's just been suggesting, but it's still Old Trafford. It's still 75,000. It's still Manchester United versus Arsenal. There's always going to be one or two nerves, certainly for slightly older Arsenal fans who do remember the dominance of Manchester United for a long time in the Premier League. But Jonathan, we've got the Arsenal fans to our right here at Old Trafford. They're in great voice at the moment, and you sense that Arsenal fans have come here today just expecting to win, I think.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think, you know, you looked at what Manchester United put out on Monday in terms of result and in terms of the players on the pitch, and I think, like I said before, we were absolutely licking our lips that we might get that sort of same result here. And I think, yeah, the fans are in the corner, they're in place now, they're loud and they're boisterous and they're ready. I think they're enjoying their Sunday afternoon here in Manchester, and yeah, I think the team are going to be really well back this afternoon.
Yeah, who do you think is going to play at centre-half for Manchester United? We've been debating it here. Is it going to be Casemiro? Is it going to be Amrabat? It's obviously Johnny Evans. I was saying earlier that he's got to be nervous ahead of this game, you know, playing alongside a midfielder in this Manchester United rearguard. You know, they'll be dreading it, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, you know, the quality in our attack is really going to cause them headaches. And I think, yeah, I agree. We've been debating it ourselves. Is Amrabat going to fill in there because it was, you know, such a mess on Monday, or will they have had more time to sort of work together with Casemiro and try and develop that partnership as quickly as they can in the week? It'd be really interesting to see who lines up there alongside Johnny Evans, but whoever it is going to have a tough day, I think.
All right, chaps, we shall leave it there. We'll let you get back to your prep, and it did sound great there, the away end. Just been told in my ear as well, social media, Rochelle McTominay could...
McTominay at the back.
Yeah, okay. What people are saying on socials, obviously take that with a pinch of salt.
Okay, yeah, no, it could happen. But if it is McTominay, again, I've seen him play centre-half, he's probably better than Casemiro, because Casemiro was a nightmare the other day. But that would make a very defensive midfield of Casemiro, of Amrabat and Kobe Mainoo. Yeah. So, you know, and that might cause us a problem in terms of, like, they've actually basically shut up shop and saying to us, well, come and break us down. We're going to put our best defensive midfield unit in there and try and thwart you that way. If that's what happens, it might be trickier than we imagine, but even so, a combination of McTominay and Evans, you know, if we could get the ball into Havertz and Ødegaard and Saka and Trossard there,
we're causing them problems.
I think we're causing them all sorts.
Yeah. Well, speaking of causing problems, their danger man, you've gone for Garnacho.
I think it's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, he's a young Argentine with so much ability. He's got that sort of edge to him as well. Like, he's not
a great goal, didn't he? This was it against
Everton overhead kick. Look at this. So playing in a really rotten Manchester United side, no one has created more chances from ball carries than Garnacho this season. Look at the names around him. So this is a ball carry, is basically where you're dribbling with the ball, you carry it probably at least 10 yards, and then you either set someone up or you have a shot yourself. A lot of those efforts from Garnacho were shots. So what he'll do, he'll look 1v1 against Ben White, he'll look to duck inside and bang, look to fire off his shots. So Ben White's got to be tight to him. You can't let him skip around him. And then, of course, on the cover, William Saliba's got to be there thereabouts. Maybe Thomas Partey as well. Just slide across when Garnacho gets it, just to sort of deny him space, because he is the guy that I think, especially in Bruno Fernandes' absence, that could hurt us today.
Yeah, I agree with that. For us, key man.
Yeah, Leandro Trossard. Yeah, look, I mean, it could be anyone. The key battles everywhere. But look at this. Look at this. Trossard, minutes per goal, the best by quite some way this season. The top three are set in stone. Conversion rate as well. He's the top dog from regular goal scorers. You know, very good conversion rate. I did a piece for the Premier League this week on Trossard, sort of analysing his season and his game. And it turns out that he is the most two-footed regular goal scorer in the Premier League across the last five years. Quite an interesting share. I think it's around 56. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think with his weaker foot, it's around 38% of his goals scored with his weaker foot. He's just ahead of Diogo Jota of Liverpool, who's very two-footed as well. So, he's a phenomenal talent and an ice-cool finisher. And today, who's he going to be up against? He's probably going to be up against Dalot. And Dalot's been in really bad form. Dalot's a pretty good player, actually, but just not in great form. So hopefully he wins that duel, gets himself into the box and slots a couple in the bottom corner, because I don't know if there's someone better when the ball comes across the face of goal. Ødegaard's brilliant at it, we know that. Yeah. But when the ball comes across the face of goal, Trossard is smooth. We saw it with that Declan Rice goal, the assist against Bournemouth. He caresses the ball into the bottom corner. I'm a big fan of Trossard.
Yeah, as are many Gooners. Right, time for a stat trick, I think. Players in the tunnel up at Old Trafford.
Yeah, Man United have lost 18 games in all competitions this season. They haven't lost more since 1978. I was a toddler at that point. You weren't even around, Pricey. We're looking to complete the league double overnight for the first time since 2006-07. That's too long.
Yeah,
way
too long.
Given how good we've been in recent seasons and how much better we are than Manchester United. Let's make sure we do the double today. And look, we have lost our final away league game in 3 or 4 seasons, capitulating a little bit towards the business end. But we're unbeaten when facing Man United in our final Premier League away game. There's obviously not too many of those down the years, but famously, the one in 2002, we'd won the FA Cup a few days earlier, and then we went to Old Trafford and we won the league on their patch. So look, we're not going to win the league today, but we can give ourselves a great chance of winning the league by winning today. So let's go out there and let's annihilate them. Let's take them to the cleaners, because we are good enough.
Yeah.
We are absolutely good enough to beat this United team and to beat them well.
Speaking of not winning a league, I'm definitely not going to win the Breakdown Live FPL.
Well, I don't think I have. Although I've had a nightmare.
I've overtaken Dan again. Come on.
Yeah, look, I'm pleased for you. Yeah. But look, I've had a bad couple of weeks.
You were in like the top 10 at one point,
it's all fallen apart for me. But I don't think it's not going to fall apart for the team today. We are going to go there and we're going to put on a show and we're going to get the 3 points we need to make sure that this place, on the final day of the season, is rocking. I've never been as confident as I am today that we'll beat Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Yeah. All right, Clarky, thank you very much. Back with me at half-time, of course, but it is a huge game. It's Manchester United against Arsenal up at Old Trafford, our penultimate game of this amazing Premier League season. And to talk us through it, Jonathan Rogers. But first, Dan Roebuck.
Arsenal's last away game and a May trip to Old Trafford. A fixture that has traditionally been key for both clubs' fortunes at the business end of a top-flight season in England, but there's no doubt that it's much bigger for Arsenal than it is for Manchester United. But battles of games past will make Gunners fans just that little bit nervous, you sense. But on all-known form, this really should be a match that holds few fears for this really good Arsenal side. Can they win the title? We'll find out over the course of the next 7 days. It doesn't just depend on the Gunners, of course, but also on Manchester City, but also on Tottenham Hotspur, but also today on Manchester United. Mikel Arteta's side have been brilliant. Erik ten Hag's side have been awful. But as always, Jonathan, complacency cannot slip into Arsenal's subconscious today. We've got to concentrate on the game in hand, earn the right to play, get the job done, and stay in the race for the final game of the season.
Absolutely. Like, it doesn't matter who we're playing today, whether it's a team at the bottom, a team at the top, a team in form, a team not in form. It doesn't really matter. It's basically a cup final for us now. We have to win the game. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. And just go out, be professional. And we know that if we play to our strengths, no matter who we're playing these days, we're going to get the win. So hopefully we do that.
Just a reminder of the two teams. Arsenal, of course, unchanged. David Raya in goal. Back four from left to right of Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White. Midfield trio of Rice, Partey and Ødegaard. Saka right, Trossard left and Havertz up top. Everyone fit for Arsenal, Jonathan, at the moment.
Unbelievable, really, isn't it, at this time of the season, to have a fully fit squad to come from. I mean, you know, that's absolutely an incredible feat by all the physios, the coaching staff, everyone really at the club to have done that. So, and it's such a boost for us. You know, this time last season we were sort of struggling with players out, and it kind of derailed our form a little bit. And there's no excuses this time. We've got absolutely everyone to pick from, and it's going to do us the world of good.
As for Manchester United, make do amends or just a complete mess? Well, it was just a complete mess, wasn't it, on Monday? They were taken apart by a talented Crystal Palace side, yes, but one really that you would not expect to put four unanswered goals past Manchester United. There are three changes from that United side. Amrabat, McTominay and Ahmad all come in. It'll be interesting to see who does play at the back. It looks like it is going to be Amrabat, who's just lining up alongside Johnny Evans here. That means that Casemiro will be a little bit further forward. Will it be some sort of hybrid back three, potentially? With Wan-Bissaka, it looks like he's come to the right-hand side, and Diego Dalot over on that left flank. So maybe slightly different to what we thought. McTominay and Mainu, of course, in midfield. And then really the attacking thrust of Garnacho and Amad Diallo and Højlund up front. Has Erik ten Hag, after that horrible performance on Monday, just gone a little bit more pragmatic maybe with his lineup here? Difficult to work out if it is going to be. It's going to be Casemiro, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, it looks like Amrabat's just sort of stalled towards the centre circle. I think maybe he's toying with Mikel Arteta in these early stages just to keep him wondering. But yeah, I think it looks like they are going to go with what they had against Crystal Palace. So yeah, you'd be sure that they've worked on it during the week a little bit better than it had, because it was an absolute mess. So yeah, we'll see how they get on. But I think for Arsenal, they'll look at that lining up and going, right, okay, we'll have a piece of this and try and get on them early doors and see if they have improved or not.
Arsenal players just break from the huddle, and boy do Arsenal look a big team these days. They are giants as they take their positions on the pitch here at Old Trafford, and this is going to be a huge opportunity to really confirm superiority over a long-term rival in the Premier League. The worst Manchester United side in Premier League history? Well, we will see. We will hope so. Paul Tierney gets us underway. Manchester United have possession, but Arsenal immediately win it back. A really good, strong challenge for Gabriel to find Ødegaard inside the penalty area. Still going forward. It's an awkward-looking clearance. It'll come out towards Bukayo Saka. Saka gets put on his backside. The ball is cleared away. Garnacho's touch. He's challenged. Saka wins it back. Good positive start from Arsenal. Cleared inside the area. Johnny Evans with an awkward-looking clearance. The ball eventually falls towards Ødegaard. Arsenal are at it from the get-go here as it's worked towards Gabriel. And now it's with Saliba, who will play the ball for White. And it's Saka breaking forward, edge of the penalty area, plays it in here for Havertz, who will turn inside the box. He's got space here to pull it back, and he's cleared behind for a corner. You would have thought he might have just gone for goal there, but Manchester United look like they picked up where they left off against Crystal Palace.
Absolute mess. Already, it's an absolute mess at the back. There's poor clearances, there's players all over the shop. There's loads of room for us to get in behind. And yeah, we've been interested. I think Kai was just forced a little bit too wide there and didn't really fancy taking the shot on there, and thought he'd stand it up towards the back post instead. But we've got a corner from it, and hopefully we can capitalise.
Manchester United look nervous, zonal marking for the corner. Arsenal, everyone forward. Outfield players in or just outside of the penalty area. Rice curls towards the near post, it's flicked on. And then it's cleared away only as far as Saka inside the penalty area on the right-hand side. Can he get the cross in? Gets to the byline, looks to get the cross in. It's cleared away, and it's eventually come out towards Amad Diallo, who will play a short ball here for Garnacho, and then the ball goes out of play. But Manchester United have not settled, and it's been a good positive start from Arsenal.
Really good. I mean, the tone was set there in the first sort of 30 seconds where Manu had the ball in midfield and Gabriel just came off it, just bullied him, pushed him off the ball, got it under control and started an attack. And I think, yeah, that's going to be, you know, like we mentioned it before, like how big and imposing a team we are. Like I think that's obviously going to, you know, if we can bully Manchester United like that throughout the game, it's going to make all the difference.
Arsenal with a throw, thrown towards Havertz, should be cleared away by Evans and is. It is Evans and Casemiro again at the back with Wan-Bissaka over on the right-hand side. We've seen him play the left-hand side as well. Dalot likewise. Tend to think that Wan-Bissaka is a much better right back than sort of Dalot is a worse left back, I think. They might have got that right, but it still doesn't look particularly good with Dalot, who's played right back for much of the season when he has been playing. Certainly a situation where Manchester United are missing some key players, as we know, but Arsenal have started promisingly, and Mikel Arteta will be pleased with the way that his side have gone about their business. Of course, the reverse fixture, Arsenal winning late on, 3-1 game, fixture that could have gone United's way if a goal hadn't have been disallowed correctly for offside, but a real sliding doors moment as the shot comes in from Saka, didn't really get hold of that, and an easy save for Onana. Yeah, it was quite comfortable, but again, we managed to get in the box, touches in the box, got a shot away. You know, it's all good positivity. And yeah, it's all Arsenal in this early stages, pinned Manchester United back. And again, it was a weak clearance from Johnny Evans as well that sort of led to it. So, you know, the one centre-back they do have is not covered himself in glory so far. Cleared away. Bukayo Saka, 16 goals in the Premier League this season, 9 assists. Unbelievable goal involvement from the England international, who's had another stellar season and will be key for England in the Euros, of course. Let's start not too distant future. Meanwhile, Casemiro looking for Højlund, but Saliba is there, and Saliba does well to find Partey. Partey loses out. Højlund with a shot, takes a deflection, out for a goal kick. It must have just come off Højlund, who maybe slipped when he made contact. That was a chance. Yeah, really sloppy play from us midfield there. I think it was Partey that gave it away, and it was loose, and it was a chance for Højlund there. Yeah, the ball just comes over the top. Miscontrol initially from Højlund. Great play by Saliba. And then, yeah, I think Thomas Partey thinks he's got time to turn, and he gets caught out. The ball comes back to Højlund, and yeah, we're lucky there. He slips over and he manages to sort of double hit the ball. He hits his standing foot with the ball, and yeah, right in front of the goal. Could have picked either side to shoot at as well. So I think it's a little bit of a let-off there. Højlund with 8 Premier League goals so far this season. Bit of a slow burn when he first came to the club from Atalanta, but has done a little bit better. Second half of the season, did really well in the Champions League earlier this campaign in the group stages. United knocked out, of course, in a section that also involved Bayern Munich, Galatasaray and Copenhagen. No English involvement, of course, in any of the European finals this year, which are a real disappointment from a Premier League standpoint. Here is Wan-Bissaka for Manchester United. Now it's with Casemiro, shuffles it sideways towards Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans plays it forward here for Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo just inside the Arsenal half, will turn and then play back here towards Evans. Once again, Evans, who was re-signed as a coach, really, but has ended up playing an awful lot for Manchester United. Certainly think that Erik ten Hag would not have thought that Evans would play as often as he has done over the course of the campaign. Manchester United defender, who's now 36. Here is Amrabat for Manchester United, just in between the two centre-halves. Maybe that's giving United a bit more solidity, potentially. Yeah, I thought when I saw that he came in for Eriksen, I think naturally that's just a more, you know, defensive-minded player who can sort of come in and sort of mop up a little bit more. Eriksen's obviously more prone to getting a little bit more forward, so perhaps they sort of popped him in there with a bit more balance and given him a bit more protection, because they really need it. Garnacho, left-hand side for Manchester United, inside the Arsenal penalty area, twists and turns. It's on his right side. He gets the shot away. It's blocked. It comes for Wan-Bissaka. Now it's with Diallo inside the penalty area. Takes a touch, still going. Short ball inside. Garnacho again with a shot over the crossbar corner. Better from United. Much better, yeah, much better. Managing to get into the final third like we were in the initial stages. Sort of fought back a bit. You know, that's where United's talent is going to be in this game. Obviously, they're better players on the attacking side of the game, and yeah, I think that's, you know,
they probably fancy us to probably try and outscore us. I don't think they probably think they're going to keep a clean sheet against us. They'll probably back themselves to try and get a couple of goals and hope that their defence can hold as firm as they can.
Scored against Liverpool, of course, and then was sent off in that incredible 4-3 cup success here. Jallo curled in, and it comes. David Raya flaps it a little, comes back out to this near side, and Jallo again inside the penalty area, fast feet inside the box. Really good play. Now it's with Kobbie Mainoo towards Amrabat. Good interception. Trossard coming forward, reads it brilliantly, the Belgian, and looking to take on the Moroccan here over the halfway line. Still has it. Amrabat does well and manages to win the ball back. Manchester United just growing in confidence, but no need to panic from an Arsenal point of view here. Really well read from Trossard.
Yeah, really good, really well read from him. But then, yeah, good play well from Amrabat again, showing sort of exactly why he's in the team, what he's there to do, is sort of like break up everything, sort of move up all the danger, and he managed to do that because it was a promising move, because Trossard was motoring sort of down the left. Odegaard had sort of come through the middle, and Kai Havertz was pushing up down the right as well. So there's good options had he managed to get around the United defender, but fortunately he pulled out a good piece of defending there.
Yeah, just an 8th start of the season since coming on loan from Fiorentina. Had a really good World Cup, of course. Amrabat hasn't really settled Manchester United. Odegaard coming forward. Saka right-hand side inside the penalty area. Saka still has it. Low ball in, takes a deflection. Corner. Havertz was calling for it. Flag kick here for Arsenal.
Yep, nice counter-attack again there. Johnny Evans managed to get the block in from Saka's cross, otherwise that was looking pretty dangerous for the back post, but great play from Declan Rice. I know Amrabat's piece of defending was good, like a minute before. Declan Rice's there was just as good, managed to break up the attack and then set us on our way again. That's what he's so good at.
Corner for Arsenal. Right-hand side will be an in-swinger, left-footed. Bukayo Saka to take. And Arsenal load up back post. Runners towards the near post, could be Partey, could be Gabriel, looking to get away from Højlund, and it comes towards that near post area, flicked on and over. That could be another corner. No, goal kick. Arsenal so dangerous from corners this season. The movement is good, and I think everybody knows that, but it's still difficult to defend against, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, such good movement in there, and when you've got players the quality of Gabriel, Saliba and co, just managing to get their head on the ball, yeah, it's such a weapon for us.
Arsenal play out from the back. Onana to Casemiro and Evans, and then back towards the Cameroon keeper. Of course, former Ajax stopper had time out the game because of a ban. Had a really good season with Inter last season, but this campaign he's found it a bit difficult at Manchester United. Has made some really good saves, but has also been at fault for 1 or 2 goals that Manchester United have conceded as well. And a deep ball bounces through towards David Raya, who's already won the Golden Gloves. Terrific campaign for the former Brentford keeper. Here is Gabriel. Now it's with Declan Rice on the left-hand side. Kobbie Mainoo comes and closes him down. That's a little bit slow and a slip from Raya, but he's recovered well. McTominay just for a split second nearly got in. Arsenal just a little loose.
Yeah, I think Declan Rice, his heart was in his mouth there as that ball trundled towards the penalty area. But fair play to David Raya, who was alert, managed to get out before McTominay and boot it well into the Manchester United half and just calm everything down a little bit. It's got a nervy feel to this game, hasn't it? Sort of both teams are a little bit sort of making little errors, misplaced passes, and a couple of times there we've been caught out in our final third. It's something we don't want to keep doing, obviously.
Evans for Amrabat, edge of his own penalty area, tracked by Odegaard. Now it's with Onana. He looks to play it over towards Bissaka, who nods it down for Jallo. Tomiyasu is there, and Jallo tracks him. Tomiyasu plays it back here towards David Raya once again. Raya takes a touch, Højlund's on him quickly. Raya will clear, it's towards Bukayo Saka, chested down here by Diego Dalot. It's done well on the left-hand side. Saka stays down for now. Now it's got back up. McTominay coming forward here for Manchester United into the final third. Scottish international plays it back here for Dalot once more. Now it's with Kobbie Mainoo. And eventually back towards Sofiane Amrabat. Arsenal just standing off Manchester United at the moment. No goals so far here at Old Trafford. Arsenal second going into the game after Manchester City's win yesterday. Playing second, of course. City with a very easy win over Fulham yesterday. No bother for City. It's been no bother for Arsenal recently as well, winning the last 4, of course, and been in really good form. 3 of those 4 wins to 0. Here is Garnacho. Manchester United, meanwhile, have slipped, and their opportunities to play in Europe next season are diminishing quickly. Still got the FA Cup, of course, against Manchester City, repeat of last year's final, of course, coming up. Manchester United's women's team winning the FA Cup earlier today, beating Spurs in the final at Wembley. Here is Wan-Bissaka for Manchester United. Now it's with Scott McTominay, Evans, and eventually towards Amrabat. Now it's with Wan-Bissaka once again. Here is Amrabat, Kobe Mainoo, Wan-Bissaka on the halfway line, right-hand side. Amad Diallo calling for it, like Højlund, a former Atalanta player. Sunderland loan that was fairly productive, also played at Rangers, but now has been given a go here against Arsenal from the off in the Premier League after scoring that goal against Liverpool in the quarter-final of the Cup. Here is Saliba, now it's with Havertz. Saliba again for Thomas Partey. Partey outside of his own penalty area, central position. Garnacho taps it for William Saliba. Saliba takes the touch, and now it's back towards Partey, and eventually towards Gabriel. Here is Partey once again. Arsenal just inching towards the halfway line. Over 15 years since Arsenal completed the league double over Manchester United, and wins against United here, as you know, have been rare. Hasn't been the happiest of hunting grounds. It's just one of the last 16 Premier League home games against Arsenal. 10 wins, 5 draws. Going down, of course, when no supporters were here, as Nick was pointing out, pre-kick-off back in November 2020. Here is Dalot coming forward. He's got Garnacho to his left. He's got McTominay through the centre. He's still going. Looks to play it towards Diallo. And it's Trossard with the defensive work. It's a Manchester United corner.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta really frustrated there with the way that we managed to allow Garnacho to basically, Dalot, wasn't it, running forward? Who gave him freedom of the Old Trafford there to just charge onto the edge of the box. And in the end, a bit of a wild clearance from Leo Trossard, sort of hacked it away and manages to put it wide in the end, but it was a little bit dicey.
2 goals, 2 assists for Dalot this season. In comes the corner, near post, clear to the edge of the box. It bounces through for Wan-Bissaka, who's caught in 2 minds here, and then has to go back towards Onana. 1 or 2 groans from the Manchester United supporters. Onana then with the diagonal to the left-hand side. Bukayo Saka defends it, bounces to the left flank, and it'll drop outside of the touchline on that far side for a throw-in. It's been taken by Johnny Evans. He's completely out of position at the moment. Here is Dalot. Now it's with McTominay. Evans is left winger at the moment. McTominay, Arsenal just back away once again. Now it's with Amrabat. Here is Casemiro, the Brazilian. Plays it forwards here for McTominay. Has to knock it back here for Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka decides to run at Trossard. Wan-Bissaka still has possession. Trossard goal side. Here is Amad Diallo. Pokes it through here to Kobe Mainoo. Mainoo will take a touch back here for Wan-Bissaka. Now it's with Amrabat, and eventually Casemiro. This is Dalot, looks to get the shot away. It's nowhere near the target, but good movement from the United players, and the effort was over the bar.
Yeah, they're growing in confidence a bit, aren't they, Man United? They're sort of, you know, since our sort of initial 5-minute sort of burst, couple of chances here and there, they've been the better team, really. They've created the chances, they've got into the final third a bit more, and I think it's interesting that actually, you know, the pressure they put us under in that first sort of 5-minute spell, we made a couple of little errors and things. It's given them confidence, hasn't it? Because they've forced us to do something. I think they know that they perhaps don't have the quality to carve us open like they do other teams that are further lower down the league. So I just think, yeah, that's given them a bit of a boost, really. And I think, you know, we have to be really, you know, organised, tidy, I think, at the back to try and show that was a bit of a one-off early on in the game. So we don't want to give them much more confidence doing that.
Gabriel, this is Thomas Partey. Well, we've had 16 minutes. Partey. Arteta just below our commentary position here at Old Trafford. All in black as usual. Eric Ten Hag has got the David Pleat beige on, hasn't he, today? I don't think he'll be skipping on the pitch later, but you never know. Here is Trossard, left-hand side, in space, gets a good-looking ball in, it's cleared away. It'll bounce through here towards Ben White. Now it's Ødegaard, it's a little loose. McTominay picks his pocket, comes forward with possession, then Ødegaard wins it back. Menu can't get there. Challenged by Casemiro. That's a dangerous ball back from McTominay. Arsenal can't quite make it work for them, but Bukayo Saka has it high on his chest. It's all a bit awkward at the moment from both sides.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? The game just doesn't really have much flow to it. It's just all a bit, all the passes are a little bit loose. I think Mikel Arteta has been quite frustrated by the amount of times we've given the ball away in dangerous areas, and I think Erik ten Hag is probably thinking the same thing too.
Warm day in Manchester, don't get too many. Maybe the players just feeling it a little bit. Ødegaard looks to slip it through for Havertz. Here is Johnny Evans, reads it well, plays it back here for Casemiro. That's asking a lot of Amad Diallo. Tomiyasu watches it well and just chests it down and plays the ball for Saliba. Ben White over the halfway line, plays it back here for Saliba. Saliba's got Tomiyasu and Gabriel to his left and White to his right. Here is Ben White once more. White to move forward, looks to play the ball for Ødegaard. Ødegaard controls brilliantly, edge of the penalty area. Looks to spin away from Menu, then plays it back here for Saka. Saka, right-hand side, back here for Thomas Partey. And eventually it's gone to Gabriel. Saliba, Arsenal's turn to just dominate possession here. No real penetration at the moment, but confident play nonetheless between Rice and Partey. Tomiyasu calling for it left-hand side. It's gone back towards Gabriel. Højlund doing the pressing. Here is Declan Rice. Where is there a way through here for Arsenal? Patience so far. Good start to the game. Plenty of pace and tenacity, but nothing since. Here is Tomiyasu, though, breaking forward inside the penalty area. Casemiro, I'm not quite sure what type of challenge that was, but he did manage to win the ball. Falls to his knees and then looks to play it long, but Gabriel is a terrific interception. Come past towards Trossard, just brilliant with the Brazilian. And Arsenal just beginning maybe to dominate here. Awkward looking challenge from Casemiro. I mean, I guess he's got the experience, but I don't really think he's got the know-how to be a centre-half. Maybe he's played there once before in previous league teams, but it just seems an odd one for me. Some centre-halves you think more natural, but just not him.
He's very much the square peg in the round hole, isn't he? Yeah. It's an area we really have to try and exploit a little bit. I think so far, we're nearly 20 minutes into the game, and I don't think we've really sort of tried to get on the turn or played something in behind him. It's sort of been more in sort of Evans' channel, hasn't it? So it'd be interesting to try and test him.
Here he is again, Casemiro plays it back towards Onana. Havertz is on Andre Onana fairly smartly, but Onana left-footed, goes long towards Højlund, just nodded down for Saliba. That's easy for the Frenchman. White will play it forward. Flag has stayed down for now. Havertz has it. Flag has still stayed down inside the penalty area. Looks to roll it in. Trossard scores. The flag has stayed down. Arsenal have the advantage. Well, Manchester United looking towards the flag on the far side. A flag hasn't come, and Arsenal lead.
Yep. Obviously, VAR are going to check it, but
United players.
Yeah, they look like they know it's going to be a goal. I think it'd be interesting to see the line and if this makeshift back four was actually in line. We'll just wait to see a replay and see. But it was a great move. Great, Ben White. Just a really easy pass from him into Havertz. Havertz seems to be in so much space. It just starts off. Onana have a loose clearance, easily picked out by Ben White. He's just got loads of time. Havertz is actually chasing the keeper down. And he is. Casemiro's played him onside, showing his inexperience there. So slow to get back. And yet Trossard just ghosts in, near post, taps it past Onana, and it's as simple as that. And we've exploited it.
Well, I mean, right on cue, as far as we're concerned. We were just talking about Casemiro, and it's so awkward with the challenge that he made. And he's playing him onside. It's just poor centre-half play, but it's just poor play from any footballer. You've got to have that awareness, haven't you? You've got to realise that you're the last man. And Arsenal have just been patient here, not panic. Manchester United has some nice movements inside the Arsenal half, but I think Arsenal and Mikel Arteta will know these mistakes are going to come from this Manchester United side.
And it wasn't even as if Casemiro realised his mistake, he sort of just ambled and he wasn't even trying to get back, and it wasn't like he realised he was playing everyone onside, you know. So he obviously doesn't know what he's doing there, and that was pretty obvious on Monday, and it's come to the fore again here. And I think, you know, the longer they persevere with it, yeah, we've just got to keep trying it, because if you can't play an offside line, why are you playing at centre back?
Yeah, well, look, Arsenal aren't going to complain.
No.
It is Leandro Trossard's 12th goal of the season in the Premier League. He's had a fantastic second half of the campaign. Trossard thoroughly deserves his place in the starting lineup at the moment, because at the start of the season it's Martinelli, and Trossard's worked hard, he's taken his chance, he's scoring goals, he's contributing all over the place, and he's popping up with some massive goals for us.
Yeah, and I think the thing we've not really talked about, we've obviously, you know, it's a huge error from Casemiro playing Havertz onside, but Havertz does well to get in the box, but it's a great run from Trossard to come off his flank to then get to the near post and score a poacher's finish like that. He's such an ice-cool finisher. It's something that he doesn't really get credit for this season. A lot of his finishes have been instinctive like that, or just getting in the right position. And yeah, he's done it again there, just sort of floated in, undetected, and he's just managed to knock it past Onana. It's really, really good, almost traditional centre-forward play from Leandro Trossard.
Such a terrific footballer. Here he is again, plays it over towards Ben White on the right-hand side. Arsenal coming forward, full of confidence at the moment. Saka, Manchester United players, back away on the overlap. Here is Ben White, tries to get the cross in, but he can't quite wrap the right boot around that one, and he just spins behind for a goal kick. But you can sense that any confidence that Manchester United might have had by keeping Arsenal out for 20 minutes is starting to slip away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where you kind of really got to go for the juggler now at this point. You know, United obviously reeling from that goal. You know, they're low on confidence anyway. You know, they know that now they have to go and score twice to win this game, and they're probably doubting their abilities to do that. So if we can go and get a second goal now in the next sort of 5-10 minutes, you know, I know we're at Old Trafford, but the roof could well cave in.
Quite literally, if reports are to be believed.
Yeah, exactly.
one or two issues at Old Trafford in recent years. Arsenal fans, you can hear to our right here, making plenty of noise, as they have been since they were allowed in a couple of hours before kick-off here. And the Gunners have been patient, and they have scored a really well-worked goal, aided and abetted by some poor defending, but brilliantly taken by Leandro Trossard, and cleverly set up by Havertz. He makes the run, he knows. And Arsenal a goal to the goods as David Raya will punt it forward. Here is Tomiyasu, challenged here by Jallo. It's going to be a free kick here. Just a tuck of the shirt from Tomiyasu on Amad Jallo. And Casemiro is going to come across to take the free kick. Plays it back towards Andre Onana. Here's Johnny Evans. Onana once again, inside his own half. Amrabat towards Casemiro, has to stretch to control, but has possession, the Brazilian. It's a lazy ball forward towards Trossard. Let's get goal 2 and 3, if possible, as quickly as possible. Throw in. Tomiyasu just in front of Erik ten Hag here. And Tomiyasu steals a yard or two. Ten Hag complains, but it's only a yard or two. Casemiro will clear, but it's an old-fashioned up and under towards Højlund, who battles with Gabriel. Then it's McTominay. Ball goes out. It's going to be an Arsenal throw. Mikel Arteta just speaking to Thomas Partey here. Tomiyasu is not allowed to steal a yard on this occasion. Has to take the throw in on the halfway lane. We've had 26 minutes here, and it's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. And it's been a game that's been played at a relatively slow pace. The heat might have something to do with that. Manchester United's lethargy from their Monday night defeat against Crystal Palace is certainly in evidence, and Arsenal's confidence is as well. It's that intangible, isn't it, really, when you're winning games, when you're top of the table, when you're fighting for the title, when things are going your way. You've just got this manner, you've just got a bit of swagger, and Arsenal have got it, and Manchester United have not. Here is Gabriel. Now it's with Saliba. Spurs, as we all know, for Manchester City midweek. Nothing for Arsenal midweek. And then Everton up a week today. Just sense there might be just one more turn, one more twist, be it at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Midweek. Maybe final game of the season they play West Ham, of course. Here is Casemiro, gives the ball away. Now it's with Gabriel. Saliba, McTominay chasing down. Over towards the left-hand side of Ben White. Ben White forwards, Havertz with Evans too tight, but Saka has it. Havertz goes down, referee plays on, good decision. This is Rice coming forward, he's got Trossard to his left. It's still Declan Rice, runs into Casemiro, comes in for Tomiyasu with a shot. Driven, it hits Johnny Evans. It was well struck by the Japanese fullback. Here is Havertz once again. Now it's with Ben White. White looks to thread it through here. Saka, flag stays down. Saka slips. It comes here for Ben White inside the penalty area. Gets to the byline. Shot is high and over, and it's a goal kick. Bit to pick out there. Good shot from Tomiyasu, I thought initially.
Yeah, really good shot. Both fullbacks getting shots in on Manchester United, which is great to see. This short ball for Saka could well have been offside, but he manages to poke it through to White. It's a very tight angle. And to be fair, he does pretty well with his effort. It is a tight angle. It does flash across the face of goal, but there's no sort of curvature or anything like that on the ball to try and get it to tuck into the far post there. But again, great on the fact that, I think was it the Bournemouth game last week, all 10 starters, outfield starters, managed to get shots on in the game, and so far I think we've probably already got about 5 or 6. So just goes to show that every one of these players is feeling confident enough to get shots in and on the goal, and we're also creating these opportunities for them.
Saliba, White, Saliba again. Havertz. This is Rice. Plays it down the line for Havertz once again. And it's Johnny Evans who's across quickly. Now it's with Garnacho. Evans goes again down the line. He's got Højlund making a move. Evans short of ideas and short of options as Arsenal close him down. Here is Amrabat. Now it's with Jallo, who's played with more of a spring in his step than most, maybe not tainted with recent losses and poor performances. A young Ivorian. Here is Amrabat. And now it's with Evans once again, who'll flick it back to Casemiro. Arsenal just backing away, but really confident when they do that in their defensive shape. Arsenal keeping Manchester United at arm's length at the moment. Half an hour in, Arsenal that lead. Garnacho has possession, looking to run at Saka here over on that left-hand side, far side to where we are here at Old Trafford. Now it's with Dalot, who will turn back towards Garnacho. Højlund inside the penalty area, waiting for the delivery. And Garnacho gets a little bit lucky, then plays it back to the edge of the box. Manchester United with McTominay, but Thomas Partey reads it brilliantly and will flick it towards Havertz, who will find Saka. Saka loses out, and then Havertz tries to win it back. United do well, though. And now Maino coming forward over on the left-hand side, over towards Garnacho, inside the penalty area. He slips. A number of players who have slipped recently. This is Kobbie Mainoo inside the area, back towards Garnacho, to the edge of the box. It's come towards Casemiro, does get the shot away. It's cleared away by Gabriel, pinged back inside the box, and then it's Casemiro again. Again, it's an up and under. It's headed up into the air by Mainoo. It's all a bit scrappy here from both teams. Kobbie Mainoo takes it down. Partey tries to win it back. Still Kobbie Mainoo has it. And Manchester United push Arsenal back. Then he slows down again once more. Arsenal still seem to me very confident at the back. United, yes, they get the ball in some good areas, but don't seem to have any real conviction, do they, at the minute?
No, there's no sort of player. They're missing Bruno Fernandes, aren't they?
Yeah. Here is Højlund, though, inside the penalty area, looking to try and turn here, but again he loses out. And Arsenal will clear comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, Fernandes is such a playmaker for them. Everything sort of runs through him. It's, when he obviously didn't play against Palace, you saw the wheels fall off. You were kind of a bit like, well, yeah, he is their key player, really. He keeps everything knitting together. To Højlund, asking him to do a job and be physical around Saliba and Gabriel, and even when he does, and he manages to sort of hold the ball up, there's no one there to get it off him.
Long punt forwards here. Here is Højlund to take it down. Looks to play back here for Mainoo. And now it's with McTominay with a shot, but it's wide of the target. He didn't really catch it. Shot from 23, 24 yards or so. That doesn't trouble David Raya. He's had a hand in some really big goals for Manchester United this season. Scott McTominay, 7 in the Premier League. Joint third highest goal scorer for United. Bruno Fernandes, of course, missing their top scorer. It's Marcus Rashford, who's got 7 in the league, also missing at the moment. Long from David Raya, nodded away by Johnny Evans. Here is Menu, away from Ben White, caught by Ben White. Referee says play on. McTominay has it over on the left-hand side. Garnacho further left still. Garnacho against Ben White. Garnacho over on the left flank, plays it back here to Amrabat. Amrabat for Dalot. Here is Garnacho, edge of the box, left-hand side. Plays it back for Dalot once again. Garnacho's going to have another run at Ben White potentially. Saka is there to help out. They've doubled up on the Argentine. Played back towards Melu. And eventually here for Evans, side foots it for Casemiro, whose mistake or lack of awareness led to the Arsenal goal. Amad Diallo. Casemiro again. Amrabat. Menu. Here's Amrabat once more. Forward for McTominay. A little bit of space to work with potentially here for Manchester United. Now it's with Garnacho. He's going to take the shot on. It takes a deflection, cleared away by Tomiyasu. Casemiro jumps, all a bit awkward against Havertz. Gets away with it. This is Wan-Bissaka. Now it's with Diallo. Amad Diallo, edge of the box. 3 Arsenal players around him. Now it's with Wan-Bissaka. Back here for Casemiro to curl towards the back post, chested down coolly by Ben White. That was neatly done.
Yep, really well done by Arsenal there. Just staying composed in defence. Cross comes in, is relatively dangerous, but Ben White isn't flustered, and he just chests it back to David Raya, and we're back in possession again. And I think that's the difference between the two teams. I think, you know, you've got a solid back line, and it's just, you know, one of our most settled back lines really of the season. The last 4 games they've had together, and they've been so composed and done really, really well. And then you've got the United back line, which is very, very makeshift. You know, Ten Hag, you know, so many injuries to deal with. It's a real tough one for him. So yeah, I think that just showed in that instance there. It was just really easy, wasn't it, for Ben White, because it's so organised and they're so confident.
Gabriel for Arsenal, just outside of his own penalty area, plays it back here for David Raya. We've had 35 minutes. Arsenal lead by 1-0 and look very comfortable at the moment. Partey. Gabriel plays it back here for Saliba and now David Raya. David Raya curls towards Trossard, can't keep that one in play. Big diagonal, spins away from the Belgian. And it will be a throw in here to Manchester United, which Wan-Bissaka will take. Game has just slowed down a little bit here. Final 10 minutes of a first half that Arsenal have been no more than 7 out of 10. It's all Arsenal have needed to be. You sense that Mikel Arteta has known that. Just have to manage the game. Garnacho plays it back to Onana with Havertz lurking, but Onana's clearance is good here for McTominay. And now it's with Amad Diallo over on the right-hand side. Tomiyasu comes and then retreats, and Diallo still has it, goes down inside the penalty area. Referee thinks about it, doesn't give anything. Play continues. It might have just been outside the box anyway. Here is Wan-Bissaka. Diallo's still down. Referee Fortini is not stopping play. Kobe Menu is going to knock the ball out. Jonathan.
Yeah, it didn't look like a penalty to me. I think he's good feet, good play. He's slipped in, he sort of beat a couple of defenders, really tricky. But I think it's just good, strong defending. I think he just stands up. Yeah, Gabriel just stands his ground. Diallo runs into him, shoulder to shoulder. He goes down. I don't know. I don't really understand why he's still down, unless he's done some serious damage to a shoulder or something. But yeah, I don't think we need to worry the VAR for that one.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I watched a little bit of the Brentford game yesterday, and that Ivan Toney penalty that was given and then not given. I don't know if you saw that one down at Bournemouth-Brentford, but I think that's the way that referees have got to go with situations like this. You know, sometimes players just run into each other in the box, and and we haven't really got full sight of a monitor here in our position at Old Trafford. We're sharing a monitor with the journalist in front of us, and we're just looking at it again here. I mean, there's a boot on the deck from Arsenal, but I mean, there's no way it's a foul.
No.
There's no way it's a motion towards the player.
No, if anything, Thomas Partey is lying on the floor, having made a slide tackle, and his leg is staying in the same place. It's
still
not
there,
moving.
isn't it?
So,
yeah, absolutely.
you know, I hate this whole, oh, his leg's there, he's dangled it out, he's got every liability to go over it. You know, that's the prime example there. Thomas Partey hasn't even moved his leg, so what, you're just going to run into it and collapse into the box? That doesn't work like that for me. So I think he went down more under the challenge under Gabriel anyway. I think it was just the strength of Gabriel and how abrasive he is, just nudged him off the ball. And yeah, I'd say the only thing that's really hurt probably is his pride.
So we'll restart with an Arsenal throw. We'll see if they give it back to Manchester United here. Martini just explaining to Amagello the situation with the challenge. Watching it again here. Oh no, watching the goal, aren't we, on the monitor? Really well taken.
Great run from Trossard to cut in from the left. So saw the danger, came in, really great run, and then just, yeah, once he's in that position, it's all about finding the right pass. And Kai Havertz, fourth assist, I think, in his last sort of 4 away games, something like that. He's got 7 for the season, isn't it? I think that's his the most he'd had in 3 years before this season. So it just goes to show, like, how impressive he's been this season. And, you know, we all know it, how well he's done, but his numbers back it up, and that's tremendous to see.
Yeah, 7 of the season in the Premier League. He's had a productive campaign. 12 goals, of course. Early season. I think they'd have got fair odds on him having such an influence on this Arsenal side. I guess the interesting thing for me is that, I mean, there's no way he was bought as a striker. But Mikel Arteta, I think he's such a good coach. He realises that, you know, he's happy to change the way that certain players play for Arsenal. We've seen that with Tommy Arsenal. We've seen that with so many players for Arsenal. Here is McTominay coming forward for Manchester United, meanwhile. Not the best of balls, but it might ricochet out for a corner. It does. Arsenal get a bit unlucky there. And United get lucky.
Yeah.
Corner.
Thomas Partey was one who sort of accidentally sort of nudged it out of play for a corner, so we just got to keep our wits about us here and manage to clear the danger. The last thing we want to do is to sort of let United off the hook here.
In comes the corner towards the near post. High foot from McTominay. That's a free kick. It's a poor challenge.
I mean, you can see why the home fans are so frustrated, can't you? Things like that, where they, you know, they've been under the cosh.
Referee wants a free kick to be taken. Again, Havertz was nearly in.
He was in, yeah. As long as he was in his own half, so that could have been anything. Because yeah, it was one-on-one with Onana with 40 yards of space behind the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
so
there's only one winner in a foot race, isn't there? So free kick taken again. Here is Saliba, now it's with David Raya. And Saliba again, right-hand side. 4.5 minutes remaining. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. Comfortable. For Arsenal, will go back to the top of the table with a win. Havertz, Amrabat wins it fairly, according to the referee, and it bounces up here for Garnacho inside the penalty area. It's a good-looking run from Garnacho. Tries to pull it back. Good defensive work. Combination there. And Saliba and White, and then Saka will curl it forwards. Evans with the interception. Havertz nearly in again.
We've done really well with that. A couple of times United players have sort of come into the box and we've not sort of panicked. We've sort of allowed them to sort of come into the penalty area. We're not worried about them crossing that white line into the box, and we just pick our moment to actually make the challenge or force them wide. So we don't really mind if Garnacho or Co are running at us necessarily. We'll just, you know, be composed, wait for the right moment, don't dive in, and yeah, ultimately snuff out the attack.
Onana. Odegaard with the press. Casemiro clips it forwards here for Højgaard, who chests it down for Jallo. Jallo will turn up against Trossard on the halfway line and then plays a short ball for Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka back for Jallo. Erik ten Hag applauds the control and the opportunity for Manchester United to get themselves out of a tight area with a lot of Arsenal personnel. Here is Casemiro now, Jallo, but haven't really made any progress. Looks to switch it to the left-hand side. It's a good ball for Garnacho, who will control it the second attempt. Ben White's in a good position, though. Garnacho, edge of the penalty area, inside the box, looks to pull it back here. Ricochets through. Might fall for McTominay. Can't quite turn. It's cleared away by Arsenal. Good run from Garnacho.
Yeah, really good run. I think Ben White was trying to show him outside. He just carried on going, got to the byline, cut it across, and we managed to scramble it away.
Jallo is still struggling, I think, after that challenge. I'm not quite sure which part of the anatomy he injured, but still not 100%. Here is Amrabat again to the left-hand side. Dalot. He's got Garnacho in front of him. Played back here towards Kobe Menu. He has it once again. Young midfielder, injured early part of this season. He's come through and been a stalwart for United recently, and one of their sole shining lights. Delivered towards Dalot, but the ball goes beyond him and out for a goal kick. But flag was up anyway on this near side. Every now and then United get themselves in dangerous areas, but Arsenal very confident, just backing themselves to keep United out. Good to see.
Yeah, it's a good battle there between Højlund and Gabriel. It's a real old-fashioned centre-forward, Rasmus Højlund, very much of the sort of Shearer-esque, sort of abrasive, gets into defenders, backs into them, goes for every header, like really a real throwback, really. And I think that's something that Gabriel probably relishes. He loves that sort of abrasive sort of contest with a centre-forward during the game. But I think as well, Højlund's enjoying it as well. So it seems to be Man United's ploy is to try and, it's not very artistic. They're just getting the ball to him and hoping it sticks, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking for Højlund to back into Gabriel and chest down and get the runners around him. And didn't really see enough of him at Atalanta to know if he was that type of striker. He looks like a hard worker, but not quite sure if he's an old-fashioned number 9, which he's sort of trying to play today. Gabriel's had his number more often than not.
Yeah, and he just backed into Saliba there. He knows exactly what he's doing, sort of pushing his backside into him, knocking our centre-half off his feet, and an awkward landing for him. He knows he's not going to get the ball, but it's just whether he can leave one on William Saliba.
Onana, the diagonal for Wan-Bissaka. Will chase it down, but Tomiyasu can shepherd it out of play. And an Arsenal throw, and the 45 is nearly up.
And yeah, I think we're still relatively playing in second gear in this half.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, if we could step this up after the break and suddenly find something a little bit more, you know, this game's ours for the taking. We need to go seize it, really, because, you know, we're playing all right, we're holding them off, but you just know that any game at 1-0, you know, can change in a flick of a switch. So it would be nice just to see us just step it up a little bit more in the second half. A little bit slicker, a bit better passing, a little bit more pace in our game, and I don't think United will be able to cope with us.
Jallo loses possession, Ødegaard wins it back, and then Amrabat wins it and looks to try and slip in Højlund, but it's an awful ball from Amrabat, and Saliba gets there ahead of Højlund and then clears. Amrabat again, did well against Ødegaard. This is Menu. Into 3 minutes of added on time at the end of the 45. Menu again, left-hand side, angle of the box, looks to clip it inside the area. David Raya, easy claim. David Raya rolls it outside of his penalty area, right-hand side. Long to the right-hand side, bounces out of play for a Manchester United throw. Well, it's a half, as Jonathan has pointed out, it's never really been as intense as I thought it might be. It's never really been played at a pace that I thought it might be. The atmosphere by the Arsenal fans have been pretty poor. United fans, I think, are resigned to having a meh end to the season, even though they have got a cup final to look forward to / fear, depending on how you see it. it's much changed. Arsenal are in control-ish.
Yeah, I'd say at times, but we've not been brilliant ourselves, to be honest. At the back, there was a couple of little instances where we gave Manchester United possession in the final third, which you can't really allow ourselves to do. So we're a little bit sloppy there. I think Mikel Arteta would be hoping that we would have created a few more chances. Probably in this last sort of 15 minutes, they've dried up really. So I think there's a lot more to come from us. It's just whether we can get it out in the second half.
Meanwhile, Amrabat towards Garnacho, edge of the penalty area, gets the shot away. Good block from Ben White. Garnacho's taking too long. Time and time again, he's wanting second, third, fourth touches, which helps Arsenal set. Onana. He demands a bit more from his team here. But there's no real movement in advanced areas. United do have it though with Dalot. And now Casemiro, and that is half-time. Well, a curious 45 minutes in many ways, a pedestrian one in many ways, but a professional one from an Arsenal point of view, who have controlled large parts of this fixture. Jonathan, the only goal of the game, Casemiro playing Havertz onside, who crossed smartly for Trossard to finish expertly from close range. Gunners haven't had that many opportunities. Manchester United have, because of Arsenal's sloppiness on the odd occasion, but there's one team that's banging form and showing confidence, and one that's a little bit nervous and really out of form, and the one that's got confidence and in form is leader.
Yeah, exactly. This pretty much sums it up. I think, the one real golden chance of the game, we've managed to go and take it. So we've been ruthless in attack there. I think we just need to step it up a little bit more in the second half. There's way more in our tank. Manchester United team are there for the taking, quite frankly. And I think if we do step it up, we'll win this game comfortably. But whilst it's 1-0, you just never know.
Let's get more analysis and social media reaction from Nick and from AD back at the Emirates. Half-time here, it's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1.
Cheers, boys. Back with you for the second half in a bit. So, 1-0 to the Arsenal at the moment, Adrian Clark. But it's not exactly been vintage Arsenal.
No, way below what I expected us to produce, if I'm honest. Only 5 shots, 2 on target, but I thought we would have peppered Manchester United's goal. I thought we'd have played the majority of the match in their half, and that we'd probably have had the lion's share of possession, but it hasn't been that kind of game. I think we've made some uncharacteristic, sloppy mistakes. Maybe we're a little bit nervous. I think, we're losing the ball cheaply. Havertz he did brilliantly for the goal, but I think he can look after the ball much better. You'd probably say that about Odegaard, all of the guys really. Declan Rice has had the fewest touches than any other player in that first half. Declan's our main man. I expected Declan to sort of run the show today, but he's been very much on the periphery. So we're thrilled to be 1-0 up. It was a lovely goal, capitalising on a shocking mistake from Manchester United. But aside from that, I think this is one of our weaker away performances of the season so far. So hopefully we improve after half-time and step on the accelerator.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? We spoke pre-game about how Manchester United were missing many of their key players, including Bruno Fernandes, who plays in the centre of the park, and that gave me, anyway, big belief that we would control everything in the midfield, but it's not really panned out that way.
No, I credit Mainu and Amrabat. Sort of sat on those on Odegaard and Rice, and then you've got McTominay that's sort of on Thomas Partey. So they've sort of gone man to man in there, but they've had more of the ball than we have. And why have they had more of the ball? Because I think we've lacked a little bit of sharpness. I think we're taking the extra touch. We're losing the ball cheaply. It's bouncing off us uncharacteristically. So. I think we can play miles better than this, absolutely miles better. The midfield hasn't been great. I think the back four have been excellent. I've got to say, we'll get some stats on them shortly. But in general, it's a below par first half, but look, we're winning at Old Trafford. We'll take it.
Yeah. Well, just before we get into any stats, let's talk about the goal. Of course, it's the main thing that happened in the first half. It was quite comical in a way, because it looked like Kai Havertz was miles offside when the ball was played, because he was, there was nobody near him, and he was way further ahead than the defender that we could see on the screen at that point. But Casemiro, schoolboy stuff.
Yeah, Casemiro is obviously a midfielder playing centre half. So basically, he shows for the ball off the goalkeeper, doesn't get it, and then really he's got to push right out. He's got to squeeze up to join the rest of his back four, and he handballs out Like it doesn't really matter. And Havertz is a mile onside, and yeah, he does great because he doesn't rush it. He gets to the byline and he picks out a lovely cross for and then Trossard makes a brilliant run across Wan-Bissaka, who's playing at right back. Him and Dalot have swapped. So yeah, it was really good play from the two involved in the goal. But yeah, if you're a Manchester United supporter, you're tearing your hair out of what Casemiro's done, because that is basic. That is Sunday League, pub league. You know, it's really, really bad defending. Thankfully, we punished them, but because outside of that, apart from the odd corner early on in the game, I don't think we've really tested the goalkeeper anywhere enough.
No, but your key man Trossard is the man
that
gets the goal.
Yeah, that minutes per goal ratio has gone up again, hasn't it? So yeah, well played.
Such a great bit of business. I'll never stop going on about it. Right. Anyway, we've been targeting the right. I think it's fair to say.
Well, it's been a strange. The guys use the phrase curious, and I think that was really a good word from Dan there. It's been an unusual game. I would say it's been a curious performance, a curious match. So this is our passing map. So basically, it's our average positions coupled with passing. So the thicker the white line, the more passes between the two players. What you'll notice from this is pretty much no link-up play at all down the left-hand side. You know, next to nothing has really come down that side. Everything's been in the middle or funneled out to Ben White and to Bukayo Saka and to Ødegaard, who's had a lot of touches in the first half, but Ødegaard's almost exclusively played on the right side of the attacking midfield area. So, yeah, a little bit imbalanced. I'd like to see Trossard have more of the ball, and because I do think, when I saw the Palace game, the fullbacks are a weak link for Manchester United, in my opinion. Not because they're poor players, just at the moment they don't get much protection from the wingers. So what you've got to do, I think, is drag a fullback in. This is what Palace did brilliantly with Eze and Elise, those two number 10s. They dragged the fullback in to then release the player in behind. We did it once. We switched the ball to Trossard. He's in acres of space. I think we can do that a lot more. What I want to see is maybe Havertz pull onto Wan-Bissaka and then just drift inside, and then we miss him out and go straight to Trossard. And you could do that on the other side as well with Saka. So with Ødegaard, go stand on the left back, Dalot, and then just bring him inside to release Saka. And Ben White's got a big part to play here as well, because Garnacho doesn't want to track him either. And I think Ben White has done really well in that first half.
He had a good chance, didn't he? Nearly score.
Yeah, he did nearly score. Yeah, that was. You thought, he's just flashed it across the face of goal, but no, he went for the far top corner, and it wasn't very far away at all. I think he's been really proactive down that right-hand side, looking to push Garnacho back as often as possible. And look, Garnacho doesn't want to go with him, the same as Ahmad on the other side.
Yeah, just a word on Kai Havertz actually. The stat for you, only Cole Palmer has more goal involvements in the Premier League than Kai this season. So it's 14, 8 goals, 6 assists.
In 2024?
Yes, this season. 2024, sorry, and the most he scored in a previous calendar year was in 2022 in the Premier League with 13, so 14 this calendar year.
Yeah, 14 direct goal involvement. So yeah, just superb. He's on fire. Got him in my fantasy team. Yeah, happy days.
Well, you need it based on what we saw. Not as much as me and Roebuck, but you know.
But I genuinely think that Kai's hold-up play today hasn't been very good by his standards. I think he's been so excellent at winning his aerial duels, holding it up, bringing others into play. But today, things are bouncing off him a little bit, and I think that's stopped Declan Rice from making those runs to support. It's maybe impacted Trossard's involvement as well. So yeah, I think that he can certainly improve that aspect of his game second half.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it, right at the very start here when we just came back at half time. Yeah. Way less dominant than we thought that we were going to be.
Yeah.
I expected us to come out 100 mile an hour, and to be honest, we did for the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then Manchester United started to come back into it.
Yeah, look, this is the possession stats. Hey, no, I didn't expect this, because for me, Man United are a more dangerous team on the counter anyway. Our stuff, as I said, and own the game, but it hasn't been like that, and I think it's because we've made mistakes. Look at the passes inside the opposition half. That's a key stat for me. Manchester United 147, 97 for us, and also look at the accuracy inside the opposition half, just 72%. That's really low by our standards. I want us to pin them in and just pop it around, because if we create 3v2s, 2v1s, 4v3s, around those fullbacks, around the centre-backs who are not the best, then we can destroy them. Evans and Casemiro, we've seen Casemiro make an absolute, cock up for the goal. We haven't put him under enough pressure. No. Let's go and play in their half and ask some questions of what I think is a very iffy defence. That's the way to get our second goal for me, not continuing to play the way that we are. Because we're having to absorb a lot of pressure, and it just takes one mistimed tackle, penalty, just takes one little deflection, they shoot, it comes off a player, deceives David Raya, and you're in trouble. So we want to play in their half.
Well, they had a shout for a penalty, didn't they? What were your thoughts?
No. Partey was on the floor, wasn't he? And I think he gets the ball. I couldn't see any other foul there. I think that was a pretty weak attempt and appeal rather. And I don't even think VAR really gave it the time of day. So yeah, look, they've got around our box more than I would like, because you're a little bit edgy, aren't we?
Yeah.
We don't want to have to defend inside our box, but that's what's happening. So. Let's squeeze up the pitch. I know Højlund's quick, Garnacho's quick, I know that, but we can afford to pin them in and get at their weakness. And their weakness is in defence. And they've had a much easier ride than they would have expected.
Yeah.
So let's not disappoint them second half.
Well, you speak of their defence, but our defence has had to play its part as well in this game. We've had to put a lot of blocks in and tackles in last minute as well. So I think we can see the map for that now.
Look, this is. I think I captured this 5 minutes before half time. There's probably 2 or 3 more interventions here. There's a good share here. Gabriel, Saliba's number 2, of course. Gabriel is 6. White's 4, isn't he? So, Tommy has done a bit. But look at the areas inside our box, in the central part of our box. They've pinned us in, and then they've got something on it, and they've managed to either block it or clear the ball.
Is that what the colours represent?
Yeah, so blue is interception and ball recovery. Green is tackles. So we've timed some good tackles. Red is tackles lost. So we see White has missed a tackle inside the box, but obviously got away with it. Look, I think we've defended our box very well. Manchester United, who will probably be pleased with how they've played, haven't had a shot on target. So in that sense, we're fine. But I go back to the point, we don't want those defenders having to work that hard again in the second half. We want their defenders pinned in, thinking, how long have we got left in this game? Because if we're in and around them, popping it around, a little bit of movement in and around the box, I think we open them up.
Is that what you want to see change in this second half then?
Just up the pitch, yeah. We've been a bit too deep. We've been quite slow in our play as well. Like a lot of passes between Saliba and Gabriel and White. It's been and Partey dropping back in there. I'd like us to get it forward a bit quicker, a little bit more vertical in our game. Let's get, because there are pockets there. Let's feed it into Saka. Let's feed it into Ødegaard, into Havertz's feet. And the difference in the second half has to be those guys look after the ball better, because it's bounced off them. If they look after it, turn, and get out that defence, that's the way we hurt them. But yeah, for me, play 10, 15 yards higher up the pitch and just play in and around their final third. We'll prize open cracks. We'll force cracks. I've got no doubt about it.
I reckon it's a combination of we've not exactly been 100% at the races in this game so far. I think that might change in the second half, but also we're probably a little bit worried about them on the counter because they are dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. Højlund is rapid and Garnacho's quick and Diallo, but Garnacho's playing very wide, isn't he? Diallo as well. So, I mean, I don't think we have to be too worried. We've got Gabriel and Saliba, of course, who aren't exactly slow. So, particularly Gabriel. Yeah, we don't want to be gung-ho, I get that, especially at 1-0 up, but we can still pin them in and have our back 4 in place, or have 3 of our back 4 in place, because Tommy Assi doesn't need to go and join in. White can. Keep the back 3 back, keep Partey back, and the rest of them just go out there and just pop it around and slide people into the box, because Manchester United's defenders will not go with runners. They've conceded 82 goals this season in all competitions. That's for a reason. They are not good at defending. Their off-the-ball work is a little bit lazy. we haven't challenged them enough in that department.
No, Arsenal on the way back out up at Old Trafford, just waiting on the arrival of Manchester United. Read into that at all?
Yeah, maybe get out there. Like not massively happy with that. I think he would have been forceful. I don't think he'd have been satisfied. I don't think there'd have been pats on the back all round. And I think the players know it themselves. They would know that they can play significantly better than they did in that first half. But look, we've got the advantage. I think if we pin United in and create more easily.
All right, Clarky, thank you very much. We're back at full time, but now let's get back to the boys for the second half at Old Trafford.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Adrian. Look, Manchester United surely here for the taking here. Arsenal already lead. Second, as soon as you like, would be much appreciated. I don't think we're going to get too many nervy moments from here in. It's been an odd game in that sense, but it's been a good one for Arsenal because it's not taking too much out of the Gunners. There is a huddle from the Arsenal squad ahead of this second half. Manchester United players are out, no changes that I can see here. As far as I can see, it's only Arsenal that can beat themselves here with a mistake, really, Jonathan. How do you see it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the two chances that Man United had, the best two chances they had in the half, came from our mistakes, or we sort of accidentally nudged the ball in behind our own back line and caused ourselves some problems. So if we cut out the basic errors and just, step it up a little bit in the second half, I just think there's so much more from this team. Odegaard was getting some good pockets of space in that first half. If we can continue to do that and we can pick out the passes, move through the gears a little bit, like that second goal will come, and I think after that, will Manchester United be up for the fight after that? That's where we talk about goal difference coming into it at all. If it is a chance for us to just get that second goal, get the 3 points on the board, and then see what happens after that.
Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. Victory here would see Arsenal go to 86 points and back to the top of the table. And then should Manchester City only draw in midweek, it will be goal difference that separates the two sides. Manchester City plus 58 at the moment. Arsenal plus 61 with the goal that they have today, and then it would be a bit of a shootout on Sunday against Everton as far as Arsenal are concerned, and Manchester City, West Ham as well, but that's presuming that Spurs can take something off Manchester City. You never know. City haven't got a great record there, but Spurs have been pretty awful recently. They did win yesterday, of course, even though they were behind against Burnley early on in that game. That has pretty much meant here, well, it hasn't meant that Burnley are down, but obviously Luton look like they're down. The goal difference between themselves and Palace and Nottingham Forest is 12. You can't really see that change around the final day. I mean, Burnley play Forest, of course, next weekend. Luton's final game is against Fulham. That's in the realms of fantasy land, I think. That's at the bottom. This is at the top. Well, it's at the top as far as Arsenal are concerned. Manchester United have still got a chance of Europe via their league position in their own hands, technically. Play Newcastle here in midweek before their final game of the season, which sees them travel to the south coast to take on Brighton. So they're still in the mix for a Conference League spot, potentially. Obviously, if they win the FA Cup, they get a Europa League spot. Underway for the second half, and Odegaard has it. France has been fairly quiet, Martin Odegaard, in this game so far. This is Saliba now to come forward to the halfway line, moves away from Højlund and just checks his run, plays it short towards Bukayo. Saka controls and plays it back here for Ben White. Ten Hag trying to get his instructions across, or some encouragement to his players, but he's got hands on hips at the moment as Declan Rice breaks forward over on the left-hand side. It's Declan Rice up against Casemiro. Casemiro wins possession a bit awkwardly and then finds Jallo, who keeps it in play just, but needs to try and find a teammate. Here is Kobe Mainoo, who wins a goal kick for Manchester United. It's a good start from an Arsenal point of view, looking to control the tempo once again. Ten Hag speaking to his players, but I sense that most of them are sort of ignoring him half the time. I can't believe he's going to be Manchester United manager next year.
Hard to see, isn't it? I think he does have the air of a substitute teacher in that jacket, actually. And yeah, if you've ever been at school, you do tend to ignore them. So maybe it's the jacket's fault.
That's absolutely brilliant. Here is Dalot for Manchester United. Now it's with McTominay coming forward, runs into Declan Rice, and then Mainoo nearly loses out to Havertz. Does well though, Mainoo. This is Dalot. Away from Saka, does well, keeps it in play over on the left-hand side. It's a good positive run, short ball in, but Partey is there. Oh, and he slips. but Saliba helps out, and then Gabriel will clear, and it's a Manchester United throw. Quite a few players have lost their footing, haven't they, over the course of the game?
They have, yeah, they have. And yeah, Thomas there, it's obviously unfortunate, but I'll tell you what was good was the fact that he slips over in the penalty area, Manchester United all around him, and suddenly just 2 passes, one from Saliba, just gets it out, and then Gabriel calmly just puts it out of play, and they just reset again. It was no panic. You know, they could easily have been like, oh God, and just throw bodies at it or whatever, but no, really nice, composed, tidied up, and the threat is gone.
Menu. Back towards Evans. And now it's Casemiro and Menu again. McTominay, halfway line is Johnny Evans here. Arsenal well set, good shape as Casemiro pings it over to the right-hand side to find Jallo. Jallo up against Tomiyasu, looks to come inside here, still has possession, controls well, turns away from Tomiyasu, gets the toe poke in, does Tomiyasu. Manchester United still have possession though, and here is Garnacho, drives to the byline, just whipping across here, and it's picked up by Trossard, but that was a better ball in with a lot more pace. Raya has it now.
Yeah, good ball, but again, there was no one really at the back post there. Hoyland sort of went to the near, and there was no one there at the back post to try and get on the end of a good cross from Garnacho there. So, yeah, it's again, it's just Manchester United. It's just a little bit, it's just not quite working, is it? And the people aren't quite in the right positions. You can tell it's a bit of a makeshift team. Not quite sure where everyone's positions are, what they're doing, and I just think it's there for the taking for us today. We really have to exploit this. You know, it's not very often you get to go into Old Trafford and you play against a Manchester United team this disorganised, this disinterested. We just cannot let this slip. We cannot really give a foothold back into this game.
Right, outside of his penalty area, right-hand side, punts it long here towards Havertz, who will flick it on, but there's no one running behind, and Casemiro has time to control and get his head up and move forward. Central position for Manchester United. Warm day, but the clouds just beginning to gather here in Manchester. Rain forecast for a little later on, but hopefully not while play is on, although the players might welcome it. Amrabat looks to try and play the ball to the right-hand side. Terrific ball as well. It's worked out. It's gone straight towards Jallo. Up against Trossard. Plays it behind Wan-Bissaka, who recovers well. Wan-Bissaka and then turns and flicks it back here for Casemiro. Casemiro for Jallo again. Seeing plenty of the ball, the youngster over on the right-hand side. Then he gets it taken off his toes, and Havertz does well. Just turns away from Amrabat. Plays it towards Partey. Partey has to knock it back here for Gabriel. Gabriel under pressure for David Raya. Raya, first time, knocks it long to the halfway line. Saka and Dalot underneath it. Dalot wins the aerial duel, but it only goes towards Partey. And now Arsenal have it again with Havertz. This is Ødegaard. Ødegaard coming forward, plays it to the left-hand side. And Trossard coming forward. Dangerous attack this for Arsenal. Edge of the area, curls it back towards Havertz, who tries to control the car, and it's a Manchester United throw. Arsenal haven't really engaged at pace high up the field that often. When they do, they're really dangerous.
Yeah, they do. It's strange. I've not really seen it in this game. Not really seen it. You know, Saka bursting forward too much, or even like Trossard on the other side. Maybe once a piece, probably in the first half. It's been quite laboured really by Arsenal. It's just been sort of going through the motion. Well, not going through the motions, but you know what I mean. It's just sort of doing what they have to do, just ticking the boxes, you know, frustrated Manchester United really, but we've seen us play so much better than this over the past few weeks even, rather than the whole season. So it's strange really that it's not quite, hasn't got quite the same energy or tempo or whatever we have to do, but maybe it's part of the game plan. Maybe it's sort of soak up what we need to and suddenly throw everything at it the last sort of 30 minutes, whether that's with the players on the pitch or on the bench. The golfing class on the bench is
it's huge, isn't it?
It's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. United playing the keeper Ericsson Anthony. Well, we know Kwanbala's played the odd game, and Forson, Collier and Mas, Oguneye and Wheatley, academy players with little or no experience for United. Last on full strength. Some really good options on the bench. If required, it might not be needed, but no doubt one or two might get a run out at some stage if the score lasts.
Yeah, they're all sort of warming up now, aren't they? Sort of limbering up. Jorginho's out there. You know, could be a good option. Just to sort of steady the game if we need him to. Jacob Kivior, Fabio Vieira all warming up as well. Zinchenko's just finished his, so yeah, I think the options we've got on the bench compared to Manchester United, it's extraordinary, really. There's not many Premier League teams at all this season, over the bottom of the top of the table, who have 5 academy kids on their bench who are really unproven. And the first time I've seen it this season, it's Manchester United. So it goes to show the terrible nature of the injury problems they've got at the moment, but also perhaps the lack of faith in the squad that Ten Hag has.
Saliba for Arsenal. This is David Raya, just inside his penalty area, plays it to the left-hand side, and Gabriel will control. He's got Trossard a little bit further forward, Tomiyasu to the left-hand side. Here is Takahiro Tomiyasu, now it's with Thomas Partey. Partey, again, just outside of his own penalty area, rolls it back for David Raya. A bit of a press here from Manchester United with well, I'm just trying to put a little bit of pressure on in the centre, but not really joining in the rest of the attackers there. It's always going to be difficult for one player to try to affect the press. Here is Partey, now it's with Ødegaard, over towards Saka, right-hand side. And now Saka against Dalot, edge of the Manchester United penalty area. On his left side, angle of the box, plays a short ball for Ødegaard. Ødegaard for Partey. Partey's ball back towards Ødegaard, just about works out. Lovely play from Ødegaard. Now it's with Saka, edge of the area. This is Ben White inside the box, and the shot here from Rice is blocked by Wan-Bissaka. He's played back out towards Trossard. Trossard, edge of the 6-yard box, is towards Saka. It nearly breaks for Ødegaard. It's cleared away. Arsenal have it again. Partey will turn away from Højlund. And now it's with Declan Rice. You just sense here that if Arsenal wanted to turn it up and pick up the pace, they could leave United in their dust. Haven't seen it that often, but every now and then that glimpse of pace and tempo.
Well, that all came there because of a fantastic sort of body swerve from Martin Ødegaard, which sent Amrabat 5-10 yards away from him. It was ridiculous. Amrabat's played really well in this game, and he sort of shackled Ødegaard, but that was the one time he got away.
Here is Garnacho for Manchester United. Oh, given away by Kobe Mainoo. This is Bukayo Saka, edge of the penalty area. Saka still has it, forced out to the right-hand side. Mainoo comes in, corner. And Arsenal just up the tempo a little bit here, maybe. It certainly feels like it, you sense it. Corner. All of the noise coming from the Arsenal supporters to our right. Haven't really seen or heard the Manchester United fans more accurately for much of this game. Better atmosphere maybe in this second half with both sets of fans joining in now. Corner though to Arsenal, right-hand side. Bukayo Saka gets ready to take in the swinger, order of the day. Out goes the right hand from Bukayo Saka. Curled towards that near post, and it's flicked on but over from William Saliba. Just needed to take a little bit off that one.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do, but as soon as he made connection with it, you knew it was going to go over the top. It was a bit too close to the goal. I think he was trying to loop it up over the keeper. But yeah, I just think it was a good move from us there. And like I said, it sort of came from Ødegaard getting away from Amrabat, and then he's able to do the damage. And I think that's the first time we've really seen it so far in this game. So if there's a way that Mikel Arteta can unlock Martin Ødegaard a little bit more, that could be key.
Garnacho, left-hand side, he gets away from Ben White here inside the penalty area, still going. Really good run, but brilliant challenge from Saliba. Just watched and waited, and then got the challenge in, perfectly timed. And for all Garnacho's threat, he's been stopped fairly comfortably on the majority of occasions from the Arsenal backline.
Yeah, it's like taking candy from a baby, isn't it? It's just, he's a very flash player, isn't he, Garnacho? He's full of pace, full of tricks, but then he gets into that position and he's like, okay, what are you going to do now? And I think Saliba knows that, and he just sort of stands his ground, and it gets to the point it's like, well, are you going to pass, you're going to shoot, doesn't do anything. And William Saliba just picks the ball off of him and snuffs out the attack.
Brilliant challenge from William Saliba. It's odd to think that he's not first choice for France, but their loss and all that, I won't mind that from an England point of view at the European Championships in the summer. Although Didier Deschamps may well change his mind if he's across the Premier League action, which he should be. Here is Gabriel and Saliba with Ben White towards Bukayo Saka. Saka caught by Dalot, free kick Arsenal on the halfway line. Mikel Arteta not happy about that. Erik Ten Hag is suggesting that it should not have been a free kick, but it is.
feel like the noise in this place has sort of gone up the last sort of 5 minutes. I think both sets of fans realise this is a key point in the game, really. This next sort of 10 minutes, can Manchester United build up a bit of a head of steam and try and, you know, get themselves back on the board, or will we go and take the game away from them? I think, you know, every game, every goal in a game this tight is obviously key, but it just feels like here now it's massive. If we get the second goal, this could be anything. If we want it to be. If Manchester United get it, this whole place changes. They get a bit of belief, and suddenly we might, you know, we could easily panic a little bit.
David Raya closed down by a combination of McTominay and Højlunds. Here is Ben White for Thomas Partey, and now Bukayo Saka. Saka tried to just sweep it in field for Ødegaard, but Dalla is there, and now it's with Johnny Evans. Looked like handball against Saka. Evans goes down anyway. That's a free kick to Manchester United. Here is Evans. Onana. Oh, good ball for Mainu over the halfway line. Declan Rice tries to get back goal side and does. And now it's with Jallo over on the right-hand side. Jallo still has it. Now it's with Wan-Bissaka. 3 inside the penalty area for Manchester United here. Wan-Bissaka still has possession. They stand off the full-back. Back here towards Jallo. It looks to curl it towards Garnacho. Garnacho will control. White is tight to his man. Garnacho still has it. And Garnacho's got a bit of space here to curl it. But it's well wide of the target. And really, that was a bit of a let-off from Arsenal, because Ben White was just left. And Garnacho had a lot of space to work with. He tried to guide it and curl it into the top corner, but it was a good 6-8 feet wide in the end. Big chance for United. They didn't take it.
It's a massive chance. The angle we've got is exactly where he was trying to aim for, and you could see when the space opened up from a little slip from Saliba, you think, wow, okay, this is a good chance. If he fires this into the top corner, David Raya's going to have to do something well to push this away, and in the end doesn't need to, because it's such a poor effort from Garnacho. It is a massive let-off.
David Raya goes long. Here is Garnacho. And now it's with Dalla coming forward, and the crowd have come alive all of a sudden. Dalla looking here for Garnacho. Garnacho stumbles, goes down. That's not a free kick or a penalty, and he knows it. And it was a half-hearted glance at the referee. He was already on his way down. That's going to be a goal kick for Arsenal here. There is danger with Garnacho left and Amad Jallo on the right-hand side, but they're far from finished products, I think, aren't they?
No, they're nowhere near it, are they? You know, can you compare them to what we've got, you know, on our flanks playing right now, and what we've got on the bench as well? You know, it's, the golfing quality is absolutely massive.
Evans and Havertz just flare up for a second. Evans not happy. Havertz moves away. This is Jallo, and now back towards Amrabat. And eventually Wan-Bissaka. It's a loose touch from Wan-Bissaka, but he's kept hold of it. McTominay, Amrabat. Here is Kobe Mainu. Casemiro has it again. Now it's with Johnny Evans. Evans for Garnacho. Garnacho back towards Evans here. Evans for Casemiro. Casemiro, who's not had the nervy moments in this second half that he had in the first. Amrabat, Wan-Bissaka, right-hand side, coming forward up against Trossard. Midway point of the Arsenal half. Back heel for Amad Jallo. Now it's with Kobe Mainu. Moves from right to left, looking for Johnny Evans. Back towards Mainu once again. Just inside Arsenal territory. Arsenal just backing off United here. This is Amrabat. Now it's with Jallo again. Højlund inside the penalty area. McTominay in a forward position as well. Amrabat still has it. This is Kobe Mainu, away from Ødegaard and from Rice. Good play from Mainu, but not really making too much progress in fairness. Arsenal still well drilled and organised as Jallo has it on the right-hand side. Amad Jallo with Kobe Mainu. Arsenal have been pushed back here. Manchester United with a low ball in. It's cleared away, only as far as Garnacho. He's had a few sighters, but hasn't really troubled Raya. Curled inside the box by Jallo. And it's cleared away only as far as Casemiro. Just a bit of possession here. Garnacho again, left-hand side against Ben White, edge of the penalty area. Saka helps out, does well, wins it back, and surely Saka's been pulled back there. Play continues. Saka will curl. Casemiro is there. Amrabat helps out. And just a bit of pressure on the Arsenal penalty area.
Yeah, United are enjoying a little bit of spell of possession. They're playing well. They're getting it into the final third, and we're edging it back out every single time. So now Declan Rice has done the same thing, and we're on the charge again.
I don't mind Arsenal playing on the counter. So effective when coming forward at pace and in numbers. And Trossard looking to power on the left-hand side now. He's up against Wan-Bissaka here. Oh, still Trossard. Terrific play, looking for Havertz. The touch is beautiful for Ødegaard. Ødegaard's shot saved by Onana. Lovely touch from Havertz to set up the Norwegian, who took a few touches before letting fly. Comfortable save in the end here from Andre Onana.
Yeah, it was, but good build-up play again. You just think when Trossard gets the better of Wan-Bissaka and he slips, you kind of like him to, he's up against Johnny Evans. You kind of think if he manages to cut inside Johnny Evans and get to the byline, there's a better opportunity there for us to get an attack. But as it went on, great little delicate touch by Kai Havertz to lay it off to Ødegaard, who perhaps could have tested Onana a little bit better.
And as Trossard curls and it's towards Saka, nice idea, but Evans is there. And now Dalot has it for Manchester United. Dalot curls to the midfield area. Kobe Mainoo looks to try and take it down, but it's cleared away by Gabriel, only as far as Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka for McTominay. McTominay comes forward. He's got Garnacho over on the left-hand side. Garnacho up against Ben White again. Here's been an interesting duel between the two, and Garnacho goes on the overlap and looks to get the cross in. Again, it's pretty dangerous, but it doesn't find a teammate. And there's only really Højlund, McTominay to try and hit, and it's too quick. And it spins all the way across for an Arsenal throw, and Arsenal will make a change here, and it's going to be Martinelli for Trossard. Interesting, John.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I think Trossard's played quite well, but I just think perhaps the direct running of Martinelli might be a little bit more dangerous for Manchester United. It's the one thing we've not really charged at them and put them under real pressure and tried to force a mistake from one of the defenders. So I think it's a good move to sort of throw Gabby on in this game. Obviously he's been a little bit quiet the last few games. He'll be keen to try and make his mark in this one.
Trossard's 12th Premier League goal of the season. The difference as he departs and Martinelli comes on like for like in terms of position. Throwing when we restart here for Arsenal, and it will be Tomiyasu to take. We've had 66 minutes here coming up to the midpoint of the second half. Atmosphere has been better, but no goals added. Still with the advantage and a win that will see the Gunners go back to the top of the table with one Premier League game remaining for the Gunners, two for Manchester City. All eyes on Tottenham Hotspur Stadium Wednesday when Manchester City travel down south for the second successive game in the capital, having dispatched Fulham with a minimum of plus yesterday. Here is Thomas Partey for Arsenal. Now it's with Ben White. White for Saliba. And now it's with David Raya. And eventually for Gabriel over on the left-hand side. Gabriel will go long. Slipped from Johnny Evans, but doesn't fall for Havertz, nearly did. This is fired down the line initially by Casemiro. Now it's with Amajalo. Here is Amrabat. Garnacho away from Ben White, just beginning to get the better of Ben White on more than one occasion. Garnacho, Dalot, left-hand side, Amrabat. Now it's with Evans, central position, 30 yards out. Plays it here for Casemiro, has a go, and David Raya seemed to see it a little bit late, but makes the save nonetheless.
Yeah, pretty comfortable, but and a bit of a pot shot as well from Casemiro. But what are we now, 67 minutes into the game? That's Manchester United's first shot on target. That's how well we've managed to snuff them out. Anything that's sort of come near us, we've not allowed them to get a shot away, or if it has, it's been pretty wayward. So yeah, it's the first time David Raya has been called into action to make a save throughout the whole game. So yeah, it's pretty solid 67 minutes worth of effort there for us. So hopefully we can finish it off now.
Bukayo Saka, right-hand side, looking to try and take on Dalot. Wins a corner, that'll do. Yeah, I keep saying City's Wednesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it, City?
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Jallo is still down. It seems like a legacy of whatever happened when he went down on the end of the box in the first half, because he's had a number of issues. United might have to make a change. Anthony's going to come on. Scored against Arsenal, of course. His debut.
Yeah, last season, yeah. He's a player who, obviously, I think his start of his Premier League career was very bright, wasn't it? But Anthony scored in a couple of games and he looked like, oh, this could be a real star, especially for the money they paid for him. And then didn't really seen anything of him the last, nearly coming up to now 2 years, isn't it? So, yeah, he's similar to Garnacho, really, in that way. He sort of charges forward and does all the tricks and flicks, but then the end product is sometimes lacking. So, yeah, you can see why Ten Hag has benched him.
Just the one goal this season for Manchester United in the Premier League for Anthony. He's about to come on. Corner for Manchester United to defend here. Anthony will take his position inside the penalty area, not marking anyone. Ten Hag was eager to get him on. Corner which Saka will take. Short for Ødegaard, back towards Saka inside the area. Now it's with Declan Rice. Anthony's out sharp to closing down. Here is Ødegaard. Takes a touch, and now Saka on his right side. Strong play from Amrabat. Amrabat moves away from Bukayo Saka and then gets taken down by Saka. And he's going to get a yellow card with Bukayo Saka. He's a bit unlucky there, but maybe a bit of frustration.
Yeah, it's just frustration. He's been shoved off the ball and an attacking move breaks down. He's just come back and got one back in on Amrabat. Amrabat's been really good in this game, actually.
Had a good game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been Manchester United's best player by far. And I think he's one of the key reasons why we only 1-0 ahead. He's snuffed out quite a lot of attacks. He's kept Martin Ødegaard quiet. He's done a lot of defensive work. He's been, their most solid player as well. So, yeah, he's obviously coming into this team. He's had a little bit more steel.
Ball forward towards Quillen, but it's cleared away by Saliba. Amrabat for Dalot, who controls the spinning ball well on the halfway line. Opportunity for Casemiro to get involved once again. Amrabat saw that's not the best of balls from Amrabat. Gets away with it though, because Martinelli can't take advantage. But Wan-Bissaka then loses out, and Martinelli now can come forward on the left-hand side. Amrabat looks to win it back and does. Throw in. Jallo getting some applause from the Manchester United supporters in front of us here. He's had to go all the way around the ground to get to the bench. He's not going down the tunnel. This is Anthony who wins it back for Manchester United. Options left and right. Anthony still going forward. The left-footed shot is easily saved by David Raya.
Yeah, Declan Rice caught on the ball there. He was waiting for the pass, and Anthony snuck in ahead of him. But again, that's exactly what we were saying before. He just charges forward and then real tame effort. Just bobbles to David Raya. So, yeah, we're fortunate there. There's been a few times like that in this game where United's lack of clinicalness in that shooting opportunity when they get that chance, and do they ping it into the bottom corner, top corner, and instead it just dribbles well wide or just falls kindly to David Raya. It's been poor, but can't keep giving him chances to do it because it only takes one decent swing of a boot for it to fly in the net. So, yeah, got to keep our wits about us.
Yeah, that's what we said pre-match. I mean, you always think they've got a bit of a puncher's chance. There is quality dotted around. None of it we've seen with any consistency this season. But Arsenal have been so strong defensively. It's defensive record, and aiming to extend that, grab another clean sheet here. 28 conceded over the course of this season. Next best City with 33, Liverpool 38. And after that, Everton with 49. It's a real jump off. Step from McTominay. Mainly does well to win it back. And Anthony has it over on the right-hand side. He's up against Martinelli. Two Brazilians going head-to-head. Amrabat takes the shot on. Ricochets up. Tomiyasu will clear. Havertz tries to take it down, but Casemiro's there. May well have been handball anyway. Well, United having a spell of possession, certainly. But there is no penetration at all. Just the odd slip from Arsenal, allowing United with a bit of an opportunity. 51.6% possession, 48.4 the possession stats. Arsenal did have more of the ball in the first half. United have turned that around in the second. Saka, White, blocked off, nothing given. Amrabat, short, Kobe Mainoo, central position, 45 yards out here, plays it back towards McTominay, lets the ball come across his body, but no real option bar wide left here. Dalot provides it. Garnacho up against Ben White and skips away from Ben White. That's a really good touch from Garnacho inside the penalty area. Looks to get the cross in, ricochets around, cleared away, and again, there wasn't the end product, thankfully, because he beat Ben White easy.
Yeah, really easy. He's played well in the second half, Garnacho. He sort of got the better of Ben White a few times. Ben obviously weren't like that at all. And but yeah, he's growing in confidence as the game goes on. I think as are United. I think they've looked at a lot more of an assured outfit in the second half, a bit more organised as well. And I think, yeah, we've got to be wary of them growing in confidence and getting some chances. The fans are getting behind them as well. Sort of, not that momentum is particularly shifting, but you just feel like belief is growing a little bit for Manchester United.
Johnny Evans goes off, Kwanbala is on. Obviously, Johnny Evans could only last 75. Kwanbala maybe isn't 100% fit, but has come into partner Casemiro at the back. Casemiro towards Anthony, who jumps, but flattens Tomiyasu. Free kick Arsenal. Majano is going down the tunnel now. Arsenal just with an opportunity to take stock here, maybe. It's been an easy game in some ways, but it's been a strange game, not the intensity of United-Arsenal clashes of the past. Just bothered about the 3 points. Arsenal fans you can hear. David Raya goes long. Kwanbala with the header away. And Mabadi's there once more. It ricochets around. Arsenal throw. And Mikel Arteta deep in thought, just hands to get down, just outside of his technical area, turns to speak with Albert Stuyvenberg. Just a little bit of chat between the two. Jakub Kivior, Fabio Vieira just going through some light stretches at the minute. There is Kwanbala. Manchester United are now Amrabat. Curls it forwards here for Højlund. His touch is a bit heavy, but it works out. Amrabat really enjoying himself in central midfield. Dalot loses concentration, doesn't realise the ball is coming towards him, continues to run forward. That's just poor, and then Arsenal give it away. Errors from both teams, and McTominay will come forwards here. Driving on, he's got Garnacho to his left. Here is Garnacho, a twist and a turn and a shot that hits the side netting. The balls are falling for Garnacho, he's not taking it.
No, he's trying to put that in the near post and he's got it all wrong. He's hit the side netting, thankfully for us, but yeah, real opportunity for us there, wasted. Poor pass from Amrabat between him and Dalot. You got Bukayo then, and you just think, burst forward, like go on, take the space, drive forward, get into the box. Instead, he tries to make a pass to Thomas Partey, nowhere near Thomas Partey. That allows Manchester United to break. Partey's caught out of position. He's running behind Scott McTominay. He's not going to catch him and creates a chance for Manchester United. It just goes to show we just have to be now, these last sort of 13 minutes plus stoppage time, cannot make mistakes like that. It cannot be that sloppy in possession. If we're going to see this game out by not trying to get a second goal and just, keeping possession, got to make sure that our possession is 100% spot on, because we cannot allow Manchester United to counter like that on us.
Arsenal have possession. Gabriel just outside the Arsenal penalty area, left-hand side. We have got 12 minutes remaining plus added on time. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil, and it will be the Gunners that go back to the top of the table by a point from Manchester City. With a win, the 3 points they currently hold. Martinelli, first time we've seen him run at Wan-Bissaka inside the penalty area. Still going forward, it's Martinelli, and still going! Oh, what a save, Onana! What a stop from Andre Onana. That looked a certain goal, and a brilliant break from Gabriel Martinelli, who feinted and waited, and took another touch before firing goalwards, but that is terrific from Onana.
Yeah, it was so good. He sort of cuts inside, and you think there's 2 or 3 chances where he could get the shot away, and you think the chance is gone, and suddenly he just pings it through a whole host of bodies there. Onana must have seen that late as well. It's come through probably 3 Manchester United shirts. He's just managed to get his fingertips on it and tip it over the bar. It's a great save. It is straight, and it is straight at him, but you know he would have seen it late as well. So yeah, fair play to United keeper.
Corner. Can Arsenal make this flag kick pay? Right-hand side, Bukayo Saka gets ready to take. It's going to be an in-swinger. Unless he goes short to Ødegaard. Garnacho has cut that route off. Saliba comes to the near post. It's curled in, and it's nodded up into the air by Casemiro. And then Rice will just guide it back here for Saka. Saka, right-hand side, a twist and a turn against Amrabat. It's still Bukayo Saka, gets to the byline, looks to pull it back. Ricochets up, and Anna gets it. No one really to hit long, and he throws it out short for Højlund. Arsenal got players back here. There's nothing to fear at the moment as Garnacho looks to take it away from Ødegaard and does. Garnacho still breaking forward inside the penalty area, looks to get the cross in, and it's diverted behind for a corner off Declan Rice, was it? Or was it Ben White in the end? It was Ben White,
Ben White, I think, yeah. Yeah, it was a counter, and I think Martin Ødegaard tried to bring Garnacho down because Bukayo Saka is injured behind the Manchester United goal. He sort of, in that attack, he sort of cut inside, the ball got blocked, he sort of slid down that sort of odd bank they've got here, and he's down by the advertising hoardings getting treatment, so we're down to 10 men at the moment.
In comes the corner deep to the far post. Raya comes and gets that one away, and Martinelli's off on the move in a typical Martinelli run. But Wan-Bissaka times his challenge to perfection and then gives it away straight to Rice. There could be something on here for Arsenal. Havertz will curl it forward. Clever ball, and it's Martinelli that gets back, but Maino is quick and he's goal side, and Martinelli is sensible here. Looks to take it towards the corner flag. Martinelli stands his ground. 2 Manchester United players win the challenge, and the ball goes out for a corner to Arsenal.
Yeah, clever play by Martinelli there. Didn't go for the juggler, just sort of realised there was no teammates up with him or anything like that, so just took it to the corner. But yeah, we're seeing if Bukayo Saka is okay to continue. He's gone down again, he's limped back onto the pitch, holding his knee, I think, or shin, somewhere down that way. And yeah, he is going to be coming off by the looks of it. Yep, Gabriel Jesus coming on. I think it might have been a sort of slid down that bank, and I don't know. It's really odd here at Old Trafford, isn't it? How they're allowed to have this bank with a brick wall and a advertising hoarding so close to the pitch. It's bizarre how it's allowed to happen here. We'll see it again here. Yeah, it just slides down there, and I'm presuming that yeah, he sort of makes contact with the advertising hoardings.
Yeah, just roll off.
Yeah.
It is awkward and it's quite steep.
Yeah, really is steep. You don't really notice until you stand down there, and then when we were down there earlier, you could see it, and it's a good sort of, must be about really 4 foot, something like that, easily, isn't it?
So Saka's coming off, Jesus is on. Corner to Arsenal. And 8 minutes remaining. Ødegaard to take in swinger, really on the money. This one, he's punched away by Onana. Nearly an own goal, I think. Here is Gabriel Martinelli, left-hand side. Now it's Declan Rice to take a touch. Thinks about the shot, does get a shot away! Oh, brilliant save from Onana again. Wonderful stop. Terrific hit from Declan Rice. Bending into the bottom corner. Had plenty of dip on it and manages to get that one out for a corner.
It's another good save again, isn't it? Really, he's done really well there to get that. He's almost watched it quite late and then managed to push it away. So yeah, we're really up in the ante now.
Ødegaard again on the money towards the back post, flicked up into the air, and Anna's on the deck. Jesus pulls it back in, he's cleared away by McTominay, and Anna's back on his feet. Saliba up against Garnacho, the overhead is going to bounce out for a throw-in here for Manchester United. And we have got 7 minutes remaining. Amrabat plays it back to Onana. Onana for Amrabat inside his own penalty area. Finds Wan-Bissaka over on the right hand, rather Kambwala over on the right hand side, and Kambwala will play it back towards Amrabat. Now it's with Kobe Manu. Infield for Casemiro. Casemiro for Garnacho. Amrabat. Manchester United have had more of the ball in the second half, but haven't really had the chances that Arsenal have had, and certainly Raya hasn't had to make the saves that Onana has had to make. Some comfortable ones so far and no more, thankfully. Here is Anthony, though, right-hand side. Back towards Cambuala. This is Amrabat. Cambuala again, just on the halfway line. Casemiro to turn under pressure from Odegaard. Cambuala. Arsenal just need to get over the line here. 6 minutes, a goal to the goods. Change is coming. Manchester United making an alteration, I think. Here is Casemiro. Now it's with Amrabat. And eventually to Anthony. To run at Martinelli. He plays it back here for Amrabat. Penalty area. Manchester United probe away. Here is Menu. Now it's with Anthony. This is Wan-Bissaka. This is Menu again. Edge of the box. Does well. Gets to the byline here. Has to play it back though. First time ball in by Anthony, but it's easily cleared away. And Onana's going to have to sprint here to keep Manchester United in possession. But Arsenal sitting fairly deep.
Yeah, I think now it's very much a case of have what you hold. 5 minutes or so to go. No need to do anything, don't need to attack. We've got the lead, we've got the win as it stands. We've just now got to stay firm. And maybe, yeah, play Manchester United on the counter if the opportunity arises. I think that was a flash of lightning.
Yeah, well, we are expecting a little bit of weather, aren't we, here? There you go, there's the thunder. Always gets a cheer from the supporters. And, well, we were expecting a little bit of rain, but not yet. But one suspects with thunder and lightning, a little bit of the wet stuff's going to follow. We've got two players down here, one of each flavour. Manchester United are going to make some changes. McTominay's one to come off, or is he just coming to get a bit of water? The players to come on here, we've got Amari Forson, who's a 19-year-old midfielder who has played 3 times in the Premier League this season. Londoner, who made his debut earlier this campaign in an FA Cup fixture against Wigan, the 2-0 away win for Manchester United. It looks like we're also going to see Christian Eriksen, who doesn't really need too much introduction. And the other change, who else is going to come on here? It looks like we're going to see Ethan Wheatley, who's just 18, and this will be a third substitute appearance in the Premier League for the local lad. It's got a bit dark here, Jonathan. It's started to rain.
Yeah, the floodgates have opened, but sadly not in the fashion that we wanted. Looking at the game as it's gone so far, we obviously thought, when we looked at the team sheets, we thought this could be an opportunity to get a bigger win than 1-0 at Old Trafford, which is the only scoreline we've ever won out here, isn't it, in the Premier League era? But no, it's just been a very professional job by Arsenal so far. They got the goal they needed, they've held on to it, soaked up any pressure that's sort of come relatively easy, and now they've really got to show their professionalism over these next probably sort of 10 minutes, I guess, including stoppage time. Just get over the line, get the points, go back to the top of the table.
So changes have been made. Forson is on, Eriksen is on, and now Wheatley is on. Højlund is off, so Wheatley's going to play up top. Eriksen's going to play midfield. Dalot's going over to the right-hand side, and Anthony, who came out to this near side with his arms out, said, "What, you want to play left back?" And Eriksen hard nodded.
Strange, isn't it? I don't also get why you take off Højlund as well. Your sort of biggest goal threat, big focal point up front as well. If you're going to sort of start, you know, going a bit more route one to try and get the ball forward, and you've taken him off. Really strange decision there. And then you sort of nullified Anthony, who's a good attacking threat. They're sort of trying to get into play by Garnacho. You just think, well, that just means everything is going to come down this left-hand side, isn't it? So
seems odd. Yeah, anyway, Amrabat, the other player to come off, we didn't mention it. Flick forward towards Wheatley here, who is offside. The rain is coming down a bit harder. It's only going to be brief, and it sweeps through quickly. I've not got a coat today.
No. Coat. Pretty stupid decision coming to Manchester and not bringing a coat, isn't it?
Also, Fred, you can hear 90 seconds plus added on time away from going back to the top of the table. David Raya with a free kick after the offside call. Casemiro controls and gets it taken off his toe by his compatriot Jesus, and then Ødegaard flicks it forward for Declan Rice and looks to play it inside the 6-yard area. It comes to Martinelli, cleared away. Just how on earth, I don't know, but it was
unbelievable. How is that not gone anywhere near the net? It's crazy.
Jesus has it again over on the left-hand side, nearly an instant impact. Ball goes out for a goal kick, and it's belting it down.
That was our best passing move of the game, though. It's taken 89 minutes, but really slick passing play. That sort of vintage quick feet there from Martin Ødegaard, where he sort of shuffles it away from a defender, gets the ball around the corner. Declan Rice is in, he gets to the byline, it rolls across the face of goal, it rolls across past Onana, and then, yeah, it's just snuffed out by Manchester United. They managed to scramble it away. How big could that be?
Forsen for Manchester United, and now Anthony on the left-hand side, Garnacho inside him. Here is Garnacho, who gets taken out off the ball, but I think he just runs into Jesus here. The referee's going to stop play. I think he's just run into him there, isn't he?
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, but I mean, every sort of break of play and every stoppage does us a bit of a favour, to be honest, you know. Just gives us a chance to regroup, refocus, set ourselves again. Yeah, just literally runs into Gabriel Jesus' shoulder and goes down clutching his face.
6 minutes remaining, 6 minutes to play in the pouring rain. It's still warm, still really warm. It's a bit of a tropical feel to it at the minute. Here is Eriksen, who's only just come on, of course. And now Cambuala. Forsen. Eriksen.
A couple more changes here as well. I can see Kivior and Jorginho stripped and ready to come on.
Yeah, final few minutes. We've had a minute of the added on 6. Manchester United have it. And it's Dalot looks to try and burst towards the right-hand side. Really good ball in, but David Raya watches it well. Delivery's been better, but United haven't had the movement inside the penalty area really to take advantage of some good crosses, both left and right. Yeah,
they haven't really got that sort of player, in a way, like similar to the way that Trossard did it, with sort of a run from deep and a clever little run like that. We haven't seen anything like that. Højlund obviously isn't that kind of player. They've missed the guile of Bruno Fernandes, definitely. You know, it's been quite straightforward. It's been relatively easy for Arsenal to defend a lot of this Manchester United stuff. It's quite basic, their build-up play, but you know, they're still creating chances.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is some significant thunder that you can hear around Old Trafford at the moment. It is loud. Going to see 2 changes here. Jorginho and Kivior, as Jonathan suggested. And the players to come off. Ødegaard has been fairly quiet, but, you know, kept his shape, kept the Arsenal shape well. Who else is coming off here?
Thomas Partey, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, not the best from either of the two midfielders today, but they've not had to be at their best, I don't think, today.
No, they haven't really. I think, you know, perhaps, you know, like I said before, Amrabat's done a good job on Ødegaard, to be fair. Made it quite difficult for him. And then, yeah, obviously Thomas, you know, he's so good at snuffing out attacks, there hasn't been that much to snuff out, and I think it's been a quiet sort of midfield battle between the two teams, isn't it? It's not very keen Vieira at all, but it's not needed to be, and we've done the job. I think obviously now we've just got to see it out these last few minutes.
Belting it down. Very reminiscent of the FA Cup final. Arsenal won on penalties at Cardiff. I can't remember the year now. Was it 2005? Long ball forward. Martinelli's on the move here. He's got the pace, as we know. He runs into Casemiro. And now Anthony will come forward in the driving rain, driving forward on the left-hand side. Garnacho comes inside, still has it, gets away from Martinelli. It's good from Garnacho. The shot is wide. It's a poor effort, really. Claims there was an Arsenal touch on it. There wasn't. And it's a goal kick.
It is. Yeah, Garnacho's been the biggest threat for us throughout the game, and sort of driving runs from the left-hand side, but just no end product at all, is it? Every shot's been tame, it's been weak, it's been off target. You know, he's obviously a player of a lot of potential, but I think, you know, the first thing that whoever's in charge of Manchester United next season really has to get a lot more out of him in terms of what he does in the final third, because there's talent there, but it's just no end product.
We have had 3.5 minutes of the added on 6. And David Raya takes his time with a goal kick. It is very dark at Old Trafford. David Raya gets a yellow card. For wasting time. Long punt forward from Raya. Casemiro volleys forward. Garnacho is on the move. Ben White wants to knock it out of play, but he might get a touch on that. It's a throw-in for Manchester United here. Garnacho is going to leave it for Anthony. Throws it down for Casemiro. Mikel Arteta shouts at his players, wants them to keep their shape here. We've got 90 seconds remaining of the added-on 6. Eriksen has it. Plays it back here for Camboire. Eriksen, central position, 40 yards out. Arsenal backpedaling. It ricochets around. It's a poor ball from Eriksen, it really is. And Arsenal will defend it easily, and then a really good challenge from Camboire. Havertz is on the forward on the left-hand side. He nearly slips. Havertz gets back on his feet. Here is Garnacho, a twist and a turn and another slip. And then he does get the cross in. It's easy for David Raya, no one at the near post, comfortable for the Arsenal keeper. That might well be that.
That's exactly what we needed. Yeah, just something like that. A really poor cross. Picked up by David Raya, and now he gets the chance to regroup, just eke out a bit more time. 1 minute of the additional 6 to go, maybe a little bit on top of that. It's been a bit of a break during stoppage time, but it's just a little bit more done.
Long towards Jesus, it hits Jesus. It's going to be a throw-in for Manchester United. Their last chance to scramble a point. Here is Camboire. Looks for the diagonal and Garnacho, but it's under hit and it's cleared away by Ben White. And Anthony will look to control. He does well. And then Man Utd takes over. Garnacho will play it back. Here is Casemiro on his right side. Plays it short for Eriksen. 10 seconds remaining of the added-on 6. Here is Anthony. Plenty of red shirts forwards here inside the penalty area. Here is Garnacho. Looks to curl it towards the far post. The cross is awful. Raya will control and claim. And that must be it now. Arsenal fans getting ready to celebrate. But if this was the last test, it was the last away game, Arsenal have come through it. It's not been fluent. It's not been the best. We've not seen Arsenal really hit the heights that we've seen in recent games, but it's going to do, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. It's all about winning at this stage of the season.
That is full time. Leandro Trossard, set up by Kai Havertz. A close range shot that eluded Onana. Smart finish from the Belgian. He gets his 12th of the campaign, and it is a massive one from an Arsenal point of view. And as the lightning, as the thunder continues around Old Trafford here, it is the Gunners. They haven't quite brought the noise on the pitch, but certainly off it they have. And it means that Arsenal go back to the top of the table. And Jonathan, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, we would have taken a 1-0 win, scrappy as it was today, and we've come here and we've done it. You know, it's a place where we don't tend to win that many games, so it makes it even more impressive. Manchester United were there for the taking today. We could have, you know, really toyed with them if we really fancied it, but I think our game plan today was just be as solid as possible and get out of here with a win. We've done that. We're still in the title race. It's going to the final day of the season. Let's just hope for the first time we actually hoping Spurs do us a favour, and we're all Spurs fans on a Tuesday night just for one night. So, yeah, who knows? It's another twist and turn to come, hopefully, but we've done the job here today, and that's all we can do.
Well, on the odd occasion, we've needed divine intervention to get a result at Old Trafford. The rain is biblical at the minute. It is absolutely pouring down. Manchester's used to this, of course. It's still very warm. No one's going anywhere, I don't think, just yet. Where Arsenal are going is back to the top of the table. Let's hand you back to Adi and to Nick back at the Emirates, where I presume it's still sunny and warm. It's warm here. It's absolutely belting it down. Arsenal go top, full time. Manchester United 0. Arsenal 1.
Yeah, thank you very much, boys. Yeah, correct. It's absolutely lovely behind Clarkie. You would never know. So it's raining up at Old Trafford. Not exactly raining goals, though, Adrian. But it didn't really matter in the end.
It didn't matter. A win was all that we really cared about. I would have loved it to have been a better performance. I would have loved it to have been a statement win, because I do feel that this Manchester United team is really poor. And I feel that if we'd have played to the level